So hope everybody's in Turner Wood. I hadn't seen very much on the Facebook this week from Turner's. I know we're getting some beautiful work coming in. I wanted to talk about it. Last week's newsletter. My wife bought us a new printer. Um, and I'm finally getting some quality photographs or prints, and I'm looking at number 20 from last week. And I had it with me when I went and had lunch with one of my daughters the other day, and this is the daughter that doesn't remodify it so I can print it. And she just looked at it and she said, "Wow, Dad, would any of that look any good on my mantle?" And if that's not a kid giving you a hint, what is? Huh? You know, and
Tell her we're happy to arrange that for her.
yeah, like, Dad, would any of that look good on my mantle? You know, and I said, it's as long as it's in every photograph of my beautiful granddaughters you take in front of the fireplace. That's all I want to know. If it's there, I'll give you something to put there if it's in those photographs. I've had hints dropped in the past, but that was a bruiser. Um, I saw some beautiful bottle stoppers the other day. A guy emailed me the photographs. I met him at SWAT, 6 weeks ago, 5 weeks ago. I was sitting with my two enemies, Carl and Robin Jacobson. I really hate those people. That's like,
Yeah, right, Eddie.
yeah. And I was sitting there babysitting their booth. Yeah, we're good enemies. I'm babysitting their booth.
Yeah, right.
And this guy came up. We got to talking about turning bottle stoppers. And he was telling me he had an oak tree in his front yard that was dying off and he was going to cut it down. And he said, they got burls, but they aren't that big. And I said, how big a bottle stoppers are you going to make? And he said, oh, yeah, regular size. I said, then you don't need a big burl. If you got those little knot burls on the branches of an oak tree, those are perfect. And if that tree's dying off, get them now. Get them fresh. And the work he sent me, the pictures are awesome. He's supposed to send them to JJ for the newsletter. They are awesome. And he was one of those members that are confused about how do you qualify to be a member, to send something to the Facebook, to put something in our newsletter. And he was thinking there was some qualification. You had to run the gamut, rod, donkey, or whatever it is. And I explained to him, yeah, it's very difficult. You must be a wood turner and love it. Boom. If you meet those qualifications, you're in there. So he's supposed to send us. They're beautiful. Those little burls that he turned those stoppers out of, he didn't do any really exotic shapes. In fact, he did the wood some honesty because he did some top hat type shapes, which to allow the wood to smile at you and show off. Yeah, you got sometimes you see where the shape, the work goes only to the shape. If you sprayed it black, it'd still be a beautiful piece because of the shape and the contours and the turning and the artwork. But sometimes the wood speaks to you. You want to see it, and that's what I love. I love. I'm terrible about this, but I love the look and feel of real good wood, and the oddities, the knots, the burnish, the areas that are just a little congealed and moved around a little bit. Those are the ones that make the most interesting pieces. And those are the ones we get out of some of the ugliest furniture stock that there is. Because you see, you put that in a furniture piece, you better be hiding it with something or extending it with something, because regular furniture shoppers are looking for the grandance of the piece across the room. They're looking for a presentation piece. They're looking for outside shape and dimension and all that. We wood turners, we're looking for much more than that. We're looking for the quality of the art of the material that we're turning. whether it be wood, corian, a mix of copper, some epoxy thrown in. I mean, why would we go through all the bother of, or the pleasure of adding epoxy and colorants and infills and all that to wood that is really very, at one time when they were all called trash or burn wood, we're going through the efforts of cleaning it up and saving it and recap and adding things to it so we can turn it and see the beauty of the wood. So here you have a little piece of burl, a little knot, a piece off a branch. Matt Harper's has shown us pieces that come off a branch, that come off a branch in his yard. And he said, I just saw this branch and it spoke to me. And when you hear things like that, you wonder if, the wires connect. I got a branch spoke to me. Yes, we get that. Sometimes you pick it up and you look at it and say, I'd like to go turn it into something, but it really doesn't want that. It doesn't want to go there. It wants to go natural edge, thin walled, long neck goblet with a good band in it and be extended with a little bark on it. And and where are you getting all that from? You're looking at the wood. You cleaned it off and you looked at it and you said, I can't throw that on the floor of shavings. That's criminal. And that's what we look at sometimes. So what I'm looking for, every time I look at something that's good for turning, is where is the weird in the wood and what can I do to accent it and bring it out and color it? I don't mind putting a little stain on it. I like to broke somebody's heart one time when I did it at a club demo. I turned a goblet and then I sprayed it black to pinpoint outline flaws. And I swear there was a guy sitting in the front row, almost cried because I sprayed that thing black. And then I said, in a little while, we're going to sand 90% of it away, and then you're going to smile. And we did. After lunch, we sanded that black matte away a good bit, and it set down in the grains, and it was highlighted, sort of like a burning when you sand off a burning. And it really gave it some nice accent. He almost didn't forgive me for that, but it's funny when wood turners, we look at the piece we turn, not what we turn out. We look at the piece we turn and say, there's a little something in there. And I really would like to dig it out and bring it forward. And if you look at segmented pieces, you'll see that people get that when they start putting a segment piece together. They'll see the colors, the hues, the bleed overs, the matches. And then they lay it all out. I mean, we've got some members that do awesome segmented work, and we've seen some. The kind of the beautiful one I saw that was in the newsletter the other day. Beside Grinstead's, well, how can you say beside Grinstead? The one he's got the crosses on. That was an awesome piece of work. But one of our members just a couple of weeks ago turned one out for us, and I thought it was in last week's. He did a demo for us on it, and I don't know, the names escape me, but it was one beautiful piece because of the way it matched out. It took a little while, and we asked, how long does that take? Well, when you ask somebody to put a timeline on that, it's not this timeline, it's this timeline you got to wonder about. How long did they sit there and cook that thing in their brain before they finally picked it up and said, okay, this is what we're going to do? And there's a whole lot of pre-thought going into doing something like that. I mean, look around. Your early segment of work, don't you have something? You go, what the hell was I thinking about when I put that together? And then you got some of your later work and you say, man, you see how that came out? Especially if some of it came out amazingly beautiful, then you got to pat yourself on the back and say, I made that look pretty good, huh? Yeah. That's the beauty of what we do. Sometimes pat on the back works really great. So if you have something that you turned this week and you want to show it off, we'd like to see it. If you're a new member, you're just signing on with worldwidewoodturners.org, please say so. Say I'm a new member, say hello. I'd like to introduce myself. Remember, this is your club, and it only grows because of you. And the way it's growing, we're doing so good. We're less than 2 years away from our big level up seminar, which is going to be in our seminar assembly, which is going to be in Wisconsin. We're going to get together and we're going to get all you folks together in one place, or as many as we can get, or perhaps as many as the state of Wisconsin will let us bring in. And we're gonna have a great time. And I've seen a couple of small club types. When I was with Value Woodturners, we called them a SWAT. I'm sorry, we called them a SKEW, Special Knowledge Education Workshop, SKEW. That's what we called it. And we did one every 6 months. We did it for a couple of years. And it was a big hit because we did 6 lathes, 6 projects, 6 demonstrators with rotations. And it gave all the members opportunities to go and look at this and this and this and this, and not be locked down to something, so they could pick the targets of what they want to see and experience and get involved in. And that's sort of like where we're going. We're going to have a real mixed bag of demonstrations and available processes. And it's going to be like a whole bunch of folks getting out by the tailgate parking lot. We're better than that, though, right? Okay. And we're going to get together and share all these ideas. And I'll get to be there and watch you turn. You can watch me turn. We can watch him turn. And like old family times and friend times, we can enjoy it all and we'll learn from every single bit of it. I will learn how not to hold that SKEW like that. You may learn how to bottom feed that SKEW instead of center feed it. Maybe the other guy is going to learn how to show you how to do an edge feed on that 3/8 inch bowl gouge where you throw the other ones away. You know, so that's what Level Up is all about. Details are in our newsletter every month, every 2 weeks. Pardon me, I screwed it up all the time. It's every 2 weeks. We're the club that's got the newsletter out every 2 weeks. And oh, by the way, it came up a little bit light on artwork this month. A little bit light. It's getting into the holiday time. So I'm expecting you folks to be out there turning in the shop, generating a whole lot of mystery. And I'd like you to send it on in. JJ's looking for that work. And we need some workshops in a newsletter. And what's a workshop newsletter? You created something. You've came up with an idea. And it's a fairly, I want to say simple. I don't want to say simple. I want to say you came up with an idea of an easy piece to turn that's kind of extraordinary. Easy and extraordinary, but you came up with it. And you can show us how to hold it, turn it, finish it, and present it into a marketable piece if I'm interested in making and selling or giving them away for gifts. Christmas time, remember? So if you developed a project like that, remember, this is your newsletter and you can send it to us. We'll package it all up and put it in there. That's what we do. That's really why we do it. Because is there any place else you get that? I don't think so. You see, we broke the rules. Well, we didn't understand what rules. So we threw it all out the window and we said, hey, if it deals with wood turning and it's an enjoyable feature of wood turning, we can learn from it and we can be safe, we're going to do it. Oh, and by the way, being safe is one of the key moats right here. We're not going to show you Jack Lake stuff. I've seen some demos on YouTube lately that scared the hell out of me. I mean, who would ever do that and then photograph it or video it and then show somebody else? I mean, isn't it better have to just be stupid? Do you have to share it? So, no, if it's dangerous or risky, keep it to yourself. It's all right. We don't need it. We're all right. It's not a challenge. It's not a race. We're okay if you do that. And every time we do it, every week we do a demonstration, we go to our safety advisor, which Safety Sue, and she's over in Florida, in Tampa Bay. I think Tampa did all right with the storm. It went right by it. Not right by, but it gave them a little blow. But Sue's with us tonight. We have other folks that we refer to them as co-hosts. And they're just members that have been with this organization for 4 or 5 years or more. And they get involved in a production and the operation of the club. I mean, our webmaster. If you take a look at the website we have, worldwidewoodturners.org, if you look there, that is finest. That is the finest wood turning website in the world, bar none. It is. It's doing everything you would want to deal with in wood turning is there. And Dave Rose handles our website. Dave is like you, just like you. He's a wood turner. He's a volunteer member, just like you. He's somebody that loves what we do. We love what Dave does. I mean, you look at the quality of what we get. And he puts that thing together and he maintains it. And he loves to get input from you on it. And if there's something that pops there first. It does. So if you're looking for that, that's where you go. When you are looking for information dealing with wood turning, you normally try to find some of the top-notch people to ask. I normally try to find the people that do the most turning to ask. Do you know why? They've probably made all the mistakes I'm going to make, and I want to learn from their mistakes. I don't care if they selling big items and got a big name and all. I want to learn from their mistakes because the last thing I want to do is duplicate their mistakes into my work. So when I do attend demonstrations, I'm not watching for what comes off the lathe. I'm watching for what doesn't come off the lathe. I don't mind being in the front row. I can catch. But I always want to see how they present the tools, how they go about, how they make the cuts. And you'd be amazed how much you'll learn when you watch our demonstrations every week, when you watch how you make cuts, how you present the tool. And a lot of times I'm sitting here thinking, wait, can we back that up? Can we do a little auto reverse there, and watch? Because he seemed to go in with a funny presentation on that tool, and it went in, and I immediately think he made that cut like Mark Slade would make that cut. He made it cut like he was using a pocket knife on it. Yeah, he sliced the wood, sliced it right out of the way. And that's the problem. We hear the term gouge, and we think gouge is a happy thing because you gouge wood out. And old Mark, he's grumpy as can be, isn't he? But old Mark, he gave up gouging out wood a long time ago. He just presents his tool and goes, I guess he's got that mean thing going, and the wood just get out the hell out of his way. Just makes clean, nice slices. I went to one of his demonstrations a long time ago, 10, 12 years ago. And some big mouth noisemaker in the crowd said, "Why do you call it wood slicing?" And Mark shut him down in about 10 seconds. And the guy never said another word the rest of the day. I guess he was done making noise at that point because Mark just, whatever this guy did, it just wasn't wood turning. It was chopping wood. So it's fun. It's really good to watch him just step up to a machine and little fine crispies come right off from the rough log, come right off. It's beautiful. All right. It's a little bit at the top of the hour, folks. If you're joining us tonight, welcome. Welcome everybody coming on. We're going to have a great demonstration as always. Cover more about Level Up. If you got something going to our newsletter, let's hear about it. Send it on to editor@worldwidewoodturners.org. Oh, yeah, by the way, if you're sending in photographs of images of your work to be added to our gallery, it doesn't come to me or Dane or Sue or Billy or any of those folks. No, it goes to editor@worldwidewoodturners.org. Editor@worldwidewoodturners.org. That's where you send the information. Because that way we got a really good image. We can't take it off Facebook or steal it from our website. That's trash. We got good information in those pictures. Those photographs come out awesome. So that's what we do. But talk about awesome photographs. I imagine right now we could say, anybody got something to show tonight? And somebody will raise their hand. Anybody raise their
Yep.
hand?
Yeah,
We've got all kinds of people ready.
Who?
Take it away, Matt.
Yep. So first on the list here is Dave Kingsley. So let's see what you got, Dave.
Hey, Grandpa.
Hey. Well, I got a little bowl I did this afternoon. Little cherry bowl.
Looks like, yeah, I was going to say it looks like cherry.
Very nice.
I like that shape on the top.
Oh, thank you. And I got a plate that I just happened to walk by this piece of wood and I said, I wonder if I could turn that. It was awful thin. And it came out pretty well. I think it's cherry, but I'm not positive.
It's beautiful.
It's a nice
Yeah, it
little
looks like
plate.
cherry.
And then I gave myself a challenge and tried something new. And this is my first attempt at a captured ring.
There you go. You did a
Came
good
out
job.
fairly well. And I decided it was too big.
Yeah, then it's bigger to fall off, Dave.
No, and then so I tried another one.
Oh, okay.
Very nice.
And
Well
That's
done,
pretty.
Dave.
yeah, there's
it
a
is.
little one in our
That's
church just turned 2 months. I figure she'll be ready for this in a little while.
There you
Isn't
go.
that a
But
great
I had
idea?
done some other rattles and I didn't care for them.
I think that's safer than having beads inside something. I think.
Yeah, I think so too. I mean, I did one with beans, and then I found out that kidney beans can be toxic if they ever break out. A raw kidney bean can be toxic to a baby. So
Or even
Toxic to
choking.
us too.
Or choking hazard or something, anything.
yeah,
But that's nice. That's pretty.
yeah. Thanks. It's got no finish on it because I figured that's fine for a little kid. This is ash.
Nice job.
But that's it for this week, which is more than usual.
That's pretty.
Very
I managed to
nice.
get some time this week. It's
Very
been
cool.
fun.
Thanks, Dave. Next up is Brenda.
Oh, hi.
Hey, Brenda.
That's what I did this week.
Oh, I have no idea.
Napkin holders.
We
Yeah.
can see the.
I've got a harem going on here.
Oh, yeah.
Hey,
Look at this.
That's pretty. That's
somebody
so
liked
pretty.
my play on words.
Yeah.
There you go,
This
Martin.
one had
There you
some
go,
crack
Martin.
in it. So I filled it with resin-crete.
Oh,
Okay.
yeah.
I think that might have been my second one.
That's
Where did
pretty.
you get those fancy napkins?
Hobby Lobby.
There you go.
Yep. They're not glued together yet. This is my first one, I think.
They're gonna fly off the shelf.
We'll see.
They
You
will.
look
Those are-
great, Brenda.
Then
You're
I
great.
made a third one.
The napkins are gonna make it, Brenda. You're doing
He's on a
smart
roll.
with the napkins. The napkins are gonna really make it pop.
That's a great project.
I thought the rest of them were kind of thin, so this one's got twice as many napkins on it. But then the rest of them, I double folded them so they kind of hang open, and they look a little better that way. This one, nobody's seen this one yet.
All right. Drum roll.
Yep, this one look. It's got
Brenda, you're going
bottom.
napkin crazy here.
put it
Hold
in.
it down. Hold it down some.
Wait a
Can't
minute.
see the top of it.
Wait a minute.
Oh,
Hold on.
sorry.
The bottom. So I got Resin-Crete in this one again,
Okay.
right? What do you think?
Nice hat.
I like it a
You
lot.
like that hat?
Yeah.
Yeah.
This one had a crack all the way down the back of it. So I put a zipper in the back of her.
There you go.
Nice.
That hat Sweet. looks very wintry.
Yes,
It does.
I was going
Looks very
for
Russian. Looks Russian.
exactly. I was going
That
for
too.
Russian
Yeah,
fur.
that's it. That's pretty. That is.
Yep.
My daughter says it looks
Very
like
nice.
a
Looks like
Very
what?
good, Brenda.
cupcake. She said I ought to put a cherry on top of it.
Oh,
No.
I thought it looked like a short marshmallow.
No, it looks like a Russian hat.
On top
It
too.
does. It looks great.
No, you know what, Brenda?
That's
You know what? Okay, now all this work that you did, a lot of it was spindle work.
Yep.
Do you feel, since you've done other things, when you get the spindle work and do a lot of it like you just did this week?
Yeah.
Do you feel like that you could handle that gouge even better now than you did because of the spindle work? I think that you need the both, and a lot of people I've heard talk about bull work, spindle work, and I think the spindle work really rounds you out as a wood turner. Does anybody know any of the conversations I'm speaking of that people have talked about? Because
Yeah, well, yeah. I mean,
Go
you
hand
know,
in hand.
yeah. I mean, I don't know how you do just face work unless you're doing something really flat, but
Right.
you got to do some spindle work. But
Gotta
yeah, I
have-
mean, you're
gotta
right.
have both.
Yeah, got to do
I also
both.
used my skew a lot this week.
Mhm.
There you
A
go.
lot with it.
Yes.
So yeah.
Yeah, things like those and the icicle snowmen that Doug showed us a few weeks ago, they make good skew practice.
Yes. And I need
For
all
anybody that's afraid of the skew. I've been doing the icicle snowmen this week. I don't have any ready to show yet, but I've been using them for my skew practice because I know I need a lot of practice on the skew. So
I bet Doug has some to
good
show when we
excuse
get
for-
there.
I'll tell you what, these didn't take me no 45 minutes to get done either.
No.
15 minutes, like Martin said. No, it was a little longer than that.
you'll get down
Hey.
there. But
Once you
but-
get
Well,
about
very-
10 of them done.
Very, very nice work,
Brenda?
Brenda. Very
Brenda?
creative.
very nice work, Brenda.
Brenda.
I agree. But one of
Fantastic.
those would take me a day.
Work, Brenda.
Yeah.
No,
Brenda,
they're-
it doesn't
they're
matter
very
how
pretty.
long it doesn't matter how long it takes you, as long as you enjoy the ride.
Yes.
You enjoy
There
the
you go.
process, you learn the process.
Exactly.
The thing on spindle turning, I'm gonna, I'm certainly gonna throw the curveball in there. Spindle turning will give you better shapes on your bowls. If you are a good
That's where I
spindle
was
turner,
going with it. That's where I was going to go with it.
Yeah. If you're a good spindle turner, you're normally a good bowl turner. You don't have to be a good bowl turner to be a good spindle turner. It one falls into the other. You create the shapes on the spindles, which then flows into the bowls. Whereas a lot of people just start on bowls and never go on to spindles, and it takes them a lot longer to find the shapes of the bowls that are selling and the shapes that they're looking for or trying to achieve. Whereas the beads and coves that you're creating on spindles will flow into your bowls. So I would always recommend anybody who is just starting out turning to go onto spindles and just turn spindles for a while and then move on to whatever they want to do. Because the spindle work is it's
It
definitely
just
a
gives
grounding.
safer.
it gives you more control in your mind and your hands.
Yeah, it's
I never felt as good and as comfortable until I got more into doing stuff with that type, And I'm glad to see her doing that.
Yeah,
And
Dane is definitely right as well. It is a lot safer for a new turner to jump on a lathe and put something in a chuck badly. The chances of them wearing it is relatively high, whereas
Oh
a
yeah.
new turner that throws it between centers
the dangers are limited. They're not they're not they're reduced. They're not eliminated. They're just reduced.
Right.
You know, obviously, there is still dangers on a spindle, but there's a lot less dangers on a spindle than what there is on a bad
I
chuck.
just think doing that gives you more of a technique of you want to push where you want to push and where you want to go, you know, not making anything, but just, you know, doing it. That's where I was going. And when I saw the things that Brenda was doing, I remember that, and I think I heard conversations of the both.
Stuff go.
And,
Yeah, definitely.
Martin, I
Yeah.
also wanted to tell you too that, you know, one other time you had done a demonstration on a wine bottle. And I thought that was cool, you know, and I went out and had to make me a wine bottle. And remember, I told you, you said, well, was it fun? I'm like, no, it wasn't fun. I did not enjoy that. I did not enjoy that one. But this one I enjoyed. I enjoyed this one. And I think it was because there was 4 different sections to it.
I can certainly see you've enjoyed it. And
Yeah.
realistically, when you're turning pieces that need to work together, your mind has to think a little bit more about them. They've got to look right. They've got to fit right. And all of a sudden, it kind of takes you turning away from just putting a lump of wood on the lathe and creating what you think it might want to be, to having to create something that it has to be. You know,
Yeah.
when you're making something that has to fit together, you've got to think about it a lot more.
This one here, when I angled down the head, I thought, oh, I just about lost her whole face. So what I did was I sat the hat down over. So the body is actually, the head is actually fitting up inside of the head of the hat.
That's a great idea.
Looks like it's coming down, you know, over her eyes or whatever.
That's exactly how it's supposed to work. Well done. Well done. It works great.
Yeah.
Lots of people make the mistake on snowmen, and you'll often see this, or I see it regularly on photographs where we've created a circle rather than a sort of flat, and it makes the hat look like it's not actually sitting on the head. What happens is we create this circle and then bring the hat off. Whereas if you leave a flat and start the hat straight away, it then sort of sits on the head properly. But you'll often see snowmen on some of the pictures where their hat is almost not on their head because we've curved the head too much. So sometimes you've just got to, you've almost got to take the item and just play on it a little bit. And you start seeing them evolving. You instantly said when you sent me that first message, the neck was too long on that first one.
That must have been the first one.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Who put a neck in? When I did the demonstration, I didn't say don't forget the neck. You created the neck. You created the neck.
Funny.
But of course, because you've got a neck, you wanted to create a neck.
Yeah.
And now you've made it too long because you've created the neck.
I
didn't tell you to create a neck.
I think I'm gonna put necklaces on them tomorrow.
Well,
Yeah,
I'll tell you what,
give him a string of
what you
beads.
need to do. You just need to give her a scarf. Now she's
There
got a
you
neck.
go.
You're right.
Put a scarf on her.
Yes.
Yep.
Okay, so Martin, you think this one might fit in?
Yeah, you see, Ruby,
we can't-
you have instantly there, you've shown exactly what
We
I
can't
was
see her.
saying. You see the snowman, where
Yeah,
his
there
hat
she is.
is.
Very nice.
You see his hat is properly on his head. If you'd have
Down by
curved
the
it right
ears.
round and then tried to put the hat on, where have you gone? I've
I'm
lost
still
you.
here.
Yeah. Yeah, you see his hat's right sitting properly on his head, rather than what I see sometimes is people trying to create this ball and then the hat. And it really does. It throws them out.
Okay.
Really. I don't know where
You
you've
you
gone.
can
Kinda like
take me off
that.
now, Dane.
Kind of like Matt
Right on.
was.
All right,
Yep,
very good.
Very, very nice.
We got next,
Very
Matt.
nice.
Yep.
Yep,
Thanks,
next
CQ.
up is Al. Let's see what Al's got.
Oh boy, oh boy. Oh boy. All right. Especially you guys down in the Texas area. There's a gentleman named Corey White. Do you guys know of him? He's I think Hunt County, and he was at SWAT, and he was making these vases out of cedar root. Out of the root, he would turn upside down and bore it out, and have the roots come in certain areas as they would come out, and they made a vase and stuff. Did Billy? Do you know all of him or have seen it?
Not that I can recall.
I've seen his
Yeah,
work.
I know him, Al.
Yeah.
He's in our club in Fort Worth.
Yeah. I saw a video what he did. I didn't have a root, and I said, well, let's see if I could, be Mother Nature, and I got a. Oh wait, this way. I got a log, and I carved it 4 ways. My wife Hazel says, "Well, it would probably look nice. Why don't you just cut those things off?" I said, "Well, that's the idea of doing it."
That's
And I went and got some flowers, saying, I keep going the wrong direction. But
Looks
as
neat.
a
Looks good, Al.
from Corey.
Very nice job, Al.
Yeah, it's very interesting.
Now, talking about everything we're talking about this evening, and a lot of you guys, that are making all these snowmen or snow persons, if any of you are woke or whatever. I have to.
No woke here. I'm
I'm gonna
perpetually asleep.
go over and shut my light out.
Offense to that term.
Shut my light out.
So does he have another piece to show, or are we waiting? Or?
Yeah,
Yeah.
he's got another piece.
Okay.
It's an art show.
I did the wrong thing. Okay, now I shut the light.
Shut off all the lights.
Making all these snowmen and stuff like that. Here's a. That.
He's cute, a pumpkin man.
He lights up, don't he? Turn him around.
Wait, I'm trying.
There you go.
Oh, that's
There you go. Yeah.
that looks great.
Pumpkin head.
That's awesome.
Pumpkin
That's
seed.
How
That's,
many
seed.
holes do you see there? I'm seeing a whole bunch of holes.
Yeah, I always see
Yeah,
the
you-
lights, Al.
Yep.
No, I'm going the wrong way all the time.
You're-
But
There's
is there
8
a
holes
face?
there.
How many?
8.
Yes. There should be 2 heads. I mean, 2 for the eyes and a nose.
Yeah, you
Yeah.
got
And
that.
then all of them in the mouth.
Then he's got a mouthful of teeth.
Yeah, you got a mouthful of teeth there. You got
5
5
holes
teeth.
through the mouth.
Okay, I'm seeing a whole bunch of lights. I'm sorry. But that's if you guys want to make a couple of things instead of snowmen, well, for Halloween you can make a few of these.
Sure, little pumpkin head.
That's a lot of fun.
That's cool.
Yeah, that was also so backed up and different. It has a little tie on. I bet they'll fly off the shelf if I
Al,
know
how
you
did you
guys.
get the light in it?
They haul
Oh,
it
okay. Thank you.
And I mean, it'll fit. I went 1.5 inches. Why am I looking at it so different? Wait, it's up, it's back. That's why. Well, here, I should probably put it that way. That's probably better, isn't it? Yeah.
Right on, Al.
Thanks, Al.
cute.
Cool, Al.
So
That's neat.
what's right?
What else you got, Al?
That's all I have, guys. Thank you so much. I always have a great time here. You guys,
All
everybody
right.
have a good night. Good night.
Thanks, sir. All right, who
All
we
right,
got? Matt?
I'm gonna go next myself here. So I started this piece with a bunch of shop extra project wood. So there's one of the pieces, box elder, got a lot of color and bark.
Made a toadstool.
And I made a little mushroom. And this is not, let me see if I can do this with it. It's not really showing up all that well here. I got the little bit of wood burning decoration in there. And then because Scott was giving me grief about making a little dude to go on there, I made a little dude to go on there.
Good deal.
Good idea, Matt.
Cool.
So I've only, you guys are the first people to see this. So
It looks cute.
thank you. Yeah, I'm happy with it. So, and if Scott gets back on at some point, then I'll show it again. Next up is Billy. What you got, Billy?
Remember that vase I showed last week?
Yeah, buddy.
I do.
I dyed
Sweet.
Wow, that's beautiful.
it, and I've still got the natural inclusion, but the bark shows through the grain shows through the dye. It's hard to see in the camera, but it's an aquamarine blue down here, and it's showing up to be more green, I think. But it's aquamarine blue, faded into dark blue, faded into purple, faded into red, into apricot, and then lastly a coat of yellow, lemon yellow, pretty much all over it. And then I shot it with 4 coats of gloss deft lacquer, and I will be buffing it out in about 12 days.
It looks fantastic, Billy.
I wasn't able to laser the bottom, but do what?
Billy, did you airbrush the stain on, or did you hand do it?
Yes, I used my airbrush so that I could get a nice fade, and it worked well. The inside's black.
Excellent. Looks great.
Thanks. I'm really happy with it. I'm surprised it came out as nicely as it did. I was worried about. I didn't like the multicolors of the natural grain, or the two. It was actually 2 or 3 toned, and I wanted to make it a little more. I don't know. A little more something that it wasn't, and so now you can't see any of that. You just see the faded colors.
Beautiful.
I really like that. I've done a piece or 2 like that myself, and I've been delighted with my results. Also, I'm sure it looks better in person than it does on here.
Oh, and it'll be even better when I get it buffed out.
Oh my goodness.
Cool.
Billy, here's a question. How long you let the lacquer cure before buffing?
I let my lacquer, with the humidity we've got here, which is, I don't know, averages around 45% or so, 35. I let these cure at least 12 days, 14 maybe better. Now, if you live up where Dane does, you could probably get by with 7 or 5. But you just really need to let the lacquer cure out well before you buff it up, or you run the risk of either burning it or melting it, based on my experience anyway.
Good
Yeah,
idea.
same is true here. We got 80-90% humidity some days, at least this week. So we do the same thing, let it cure.
Yep, the longer you can wait, the better. Thank you, Scott.
Yeah, we're gonna bring Dane in next because he's got something relevant.
All right, so let me do a share screen. So I've been working on an urn for my daughter, for her cat. Let's see. Share.
Oh, he said share screen. I thought he said scare screen.
I did too.
Right. All right, so.
Oh, nice.
Very
That is
nice.
nice.
Wow.
Came out nice, Dane.
It sure did. It's a piece of American elm, dyed it with RIT dye, black, red, and purple, massaging in the collars to to get the effect on it. It's 10 inches tall, 5 3/8 at the widest diameter, if I remember right, all within proportion and whatnot. So I had set it on back in the back on my bandsaw, nice flat tabletop. That was on Monday night. And I come into the shop yesterday morning, straight through the door back here. I'm looking straight ahead at the bandsaw, and the urn's not sitting there. And then I'm looking around. Where's it at? And there it is on the floor. Somehow or another, it fell off of a flat surface. Nobody was in. No cats were in. I've got a pet snake in here, and or a gust of wind came through the garage door and had enough force to knock it off. I'm going to go with either the snake or the wind. So it
Earthquake.
Yeah, I have poltergeist. I have no idea.
Some
So-
shop gremlins.
So it cracked. You won't be able to, and I've already taken the top off, took the ring out of it, but it cracked all the way down. It's
Wow.
only 3/16 of an inch thick.
You gotta be kidding me.
Yeah.
You gotta be kidding.
So,
What about that finial?
yeah, the tip is broke off. The second wraparound, it broke. Got a big ass chip in the side, so still got to take the ring off. But
Oh, gosh.
yeah,
Bummer.
Oh my God.
so I've never lost a piece like that. That's the first time that anything like that's ever happened to me. I felt so gutted. My eyes welled up. I was so disheartened. Yeah, I was ready to cry about it. It really sucked.
Show the
No
piece
question.
again. I want to see that. I want to see that finial. Show that piece again. No, the picture. The picture that you had, the original. Because I think, I remember what you showed this to me, I think, before.
Yeah,
That-
I showed you that.
Let me see that. My God. And that, okay, that's the wraparound.
That's right.
Look at that.
Yeah.
That's a pretty piece.
Yeah.
Thank you.
My God.
It's gorgeous, Dane. Absolutely gorgeous. I'm sorry that
Thank
happened.
you. Yeah, well, the replacements are already in process, so
You didn't
still.
have it sitting on top of that foam, did you?
No.
And can
Well,
you
then now you get to show your talents as a wood turner by repairing.
Yeah, like I said, I'm beyond repairing stuff like that. I know it's there too, just, the effort of going back in to try and redo it and then to match, and nah.
Yeah. I hear you.
are you gonna try to rescue the gold finial or not?
No, because it's glued in there, so getting the finial out, it'll the tenon that it sits down inside the spirals, it'll break off. So there's
Either that or I guess destroy
it's
the
simple,
destroy
it's
the lid.
simple enough to make it's simple enough to make another one. But what perplexes me is how the hell that thing got knocked off a flat bench top is beyond me. It's crazy. So anyway.
I'd be looking for the snake.
Well, I look for him all day, every day.
I'd be
There you
looking
go.
for the snake. If you think so, I'd be looking.
Well, I'm sorry to hear that.
I think the cat did it.
No,
don't
let
have
the
eyes.
cat.
Snake, I'd
No,
kill it.
the only time the cat's out here is when I'm out here. So
No, not your cat, Dane. The
yeah,
cat that's going in it doesn't like flat surfaces.
yeah, right. Uh-huh. Yeah. Yeah.
If there's a snake in your shop, it'd be a dead snake.
A
With
bit of
me.
rat.
No,
All right.
I don't have any rodents, so
The snake takes care of the rodents.
right. Yep.
Sorry,
Hey,
sorry to hear
5
that.
foot
Sorry.
gopher snakes, so but let's move on.
Yep. Sorry to hear that, Dane. Hope the next one works better.
Yeah,
So
appreciate it.
we're gonna put Paul Hanneby in to see what Paul's got.
Evening or morning, whichever.
Paul.
Morning, Paul.
Couple of bowls here. This one is Spalted Beach. And it's
Pretty.
a shallow OG, that one, I would say.
Beautiful.
That's some
It's
nice
a great
spotting on the outside and nice colouring in that one.
Yeah.
Very nice.
I love how you got the inside centered like that. It looks great.
Thank you. And
As
the
one of
other
my UK friends is fond of saying, Paul, lovely old job, mate.
and I've got another one here. This is also an OG, bit thinner. This one's a Madrone burr or burr.
Mhm.
Oh, that's
Any
pretty
which way
too.
you pronounce it.
I like that. I like that shape a lot.
Yeah, and yeah, there was a crack in the side there, so I put some copper powder in it and some CA glue to sort of bond that in. But that one goes all the way through, and I've done the same on the other side.
Mm.
So I
Nice.
just filled it.
Wood
fix.
turns. Wood turns. That's what I was told from the beginning. Wood has
Very-
its
very
own
nice,
brain
Paul.
and it turns. It always moves. I meant to say it always moves.
Yeah.
Yeah, but this one's a bit thinner than the other one as well. I think that's about 1/8 of an inch thick, roughly.
Beautiful.
Very nice.
That's
Thank
all I
you,
got.
Paul.
Thank you.
Dewey says he has an update, so let's see what Dewey's got.
Well, that vase I was showing you last week, I finally got finished with it.
Oh.
Mm.
I
Sweet.
It's kind of hard. I'm sorry about the light. I'm sitting in front of a window, but
Yeah,
it's
the
hard.
light looks fine. The light's fine. Yeah, right there is good. Right there is real good.
Yeah, so
My
it's
God.
it's a five-step process of doing this, and first thing I did was spray it with some gray enamel. What do you call it? Where you put under paint to keep it from peeling off.
Primer.
Yes. And then you come back with gloss white enamel. Let that dry good. And then you come in with the stuff that they use on plastic car models to make a mirror finish, chrome mirror finish. So you can kind of, if you look, you can kind of see where on some of these, you see it. But you do the whole thing with that. Then you come back and you take and you do a real fast light paint with a gloss water-based varnish with a yellow and red dye in it, and eventually it'll give you that gold color that you see
Wow.
here. And then I do it, and then I got some tinting. I just did some tinting. I just got some gold here. Did some paint, put a little red in it, and did some tinting on it. And
This is a brassy look. I like it.
That is so pretty.
yeah, so
Very nice, Dewey.
Looks like just like a piece of gold.
So silver enamel underneath the yellow.
well, yeah, but then, well, I don't know if it's an enamel or not, but it's not silver. It's actually a chrome mirror. You put that on there, and
Oh, okay, I got you.
you can see yourself in it, and it's important that you get the real shiny gold look on it.
Right. I said enamel. We typically use or we did back when I was doing it a lot. Enamel is what you used for models.
Yeah. And, but this stuff looks, you shake it up and you can see the swirls of the chrome
Mhm.
of the stuff in it, you know. And,
I've used it before. It's awesome stuff.
yeah.
The carving is just beautiful. I mean, your
It is.
detail, your detail. Bring it up closer so we can see those leaves.
Never thought of spraying it on wood though. That's cool.
Yeah,
Yeah.
note to self, eh?
Yeah,
Right,
really.
right.
You know where I got the pattern for this? I went on a cruise to Alaska in July, and this pattern was on the elevator doors of the. I took a I said that is good. I took a picture of it, and then I was able to transfer that pattern to this.
I was aimed to say, I was getting ready to say, I bet you took a picture of it because there's no way you remembered that.
Oh yeah, I took a picture of it, and actually on the elevator doors there were little curly cues, and where I got these voids at, you know, but I couldn't replicate the curly cues very well. So anyway, this is not
That looks great.
This is not a pure Turner's type thing, other than the fact that, you know, I turned a vase, but I wanted to try this embellishment type thing again before.
It looks fantastic.
Well, how
Yeah.
was it?
Great
Was it fun to do, or I mean, was it very difficult?
No, it wasn't that hard. No, it wasn't. The hardest part was doing the hardest part was doing the sanding of all these little things.
Yeah.
Yeah, I bet.
Because you have to get rid of all the little fuzzies and all that little stuff, you know, and you got to sand all these little grooves and all this stuff, you know, and of course everybody loves the sand, I know.
Oh yeah.
Not.
Finally, I did enough sanding. Finally, I said, that's it. I've discussed it. We're just going with what it's got. And but anyway, I think next time I do one, I'm not going to do a full embellishment. I'm just going to do a partial embellishment such that the wood will show up.
You know, I'm going to ask you the goofy question is, what did you sand it up to?
What did I send it to?
Yeah, I'm just goofing with it.
I was trying to do. I got it up to 220, and maybe did a little bit of 400 on this and that and other. But I got up to 220, and then I said, well, I'll put the enamel on it, and the enamel will cover up all the other stuff, and it did. It kind of, you got that real
a lot of detail for sure.
Yeah. So
good job,
knocked
Dewey,
it out of the park. You knocked it right out of the park.
Dewey, for your wall thickness, did you turn it to 1/8?
Yeah, it's anywhere from 1/8 to 3/16.
Yep. Okay, that's what I thought. So
when I first started it out, it was over 1/4 of an inch. And then I got looking at trying to cut out these voids, and I said, whoa, that's going to take too much. So I put it back on the lathe, and I turned it back down to the thinner. It was 5/16 almost to 3/8. Then I turned it down to the 1/8 to 3/16 so I could cut these things out. But
yeah,
I'm gonna I sold my laser. I'm gonna get me a more powerful laser such that I can get the laser to cut these things out from now on instead of me trying to do it.
No way.
I don't blame you. The only problem is the laser won't cut that 3D detail though.
No.
Yeah.
Don't you dare do that. No, you know you're better than a 3D printer. Look at that.
Yeah.
That's amazing. There aren't even words to explain what that looks like. That's how pretty it is.
Yeah. Well, I've got it on my Facebook page, and I'm gonna put it on the Woodwired Turner's web page and send a picture up for the newsletter. So you'll get the pictures do it a lot better justice than sitting here in front of this window. So I appreciate it if y'all would take a peek at it on our Facebook page, and we'll go from there, because I think you'll see it's a lot better. You get a lot better detail and a lot better color stand out on that. So anyway, that's the end of that. Thank goodness. And
Absolutely great.
Great
I'll
work.
tell you what. I'll
Thanks
tell
a
you what,
lot. I appreciate
it
it.
was happy. I'm happy to see it be born. I mean, we've seen it from the beginning.
Yeah. Yeah, and I think that's good. I think it's kind of instructional that way too, you know.
Mm-hmm.
That's
And
great.
you got to build some jigs for your shop and
Yeah,
That's
to
right.
help you out.
That's
you know
right.
what?
Yep.
I took that crazy thing apart because I said I'm gonna get a new laser, so I'm not gonna have to need that thing anymore. Because the laser I'm gonna get is gonna be able to cut 3/8 inch thick stuff. So
Wow.
Anyway, I've got it ordered and hopefully it'll be here before too much longer. So, but anyway,
So round about January, we'll see something out of it, huh?
well, possibly the end of November. We'll see. November,
Okay.
December, maybe. We'll see. But anyway,
I was trying to give you a little extra room for the learning curve to kick in.
There you go.
yeah. Well, it operates the same as the one I had. It's by the same brand and everything. The only thing is it's wider and it's more powerful. So I had my other one I had on a stand right here in my office, and the one I ordered's too big for the stand. So I sold the laser and the stand and the hood all as one to a guy in the club. And then so now I got to make a new stand, a new hood, and
Oh,
all the other stuff. So anyway, but that's fine. I like doing stuff like that. So we'll cut it out with plywood. We'll use pocket hole screws and put that sucker together and then ramp it up. But I'm gonna put that out in my shop rather than have it here because my wife, she complains about the stink of the smoke sometimes. So
Yep.
you know, so anyway, I'm gonna
Thanks, Stewie.
You bet. Y'all have a good evening.
All right, let's
Thanks,
do one more
Stewie.
gallery, then we'll do safety.
okay.
Yep, next up is Doug.
All right. Well, here we are. It's good to see everybody tonight. And I tell you what, there's been some great gallery tonight, and some good instruction to go along with it. Yes, I have some snowmen. We're up to about 65 of these little dudes. This one, he took some of those weird pills. He's got stuff missing in the backside. But the people are loving the ones that have the bark left on them. And I've got there's another branch I've got that on the edge of the bark, the cambium is it's very, very orange. I'm thinking it might be cherry wood, but this has got the same bark, and this does not have that color in the cambium. So I don't know what it is. Something that fell out of a tree in my dad's yard. That's all I know. And it's still green.
Doug, with that bark in the back,
Yeah.
making it have that shape that it's got,
Mm-hmm.
I would put a little beak in front of on the face in front of that.
You could,
Because
yeah,
it looks like
right there.
It looks like no, in front on the opposite side of the.
Oh, I got you. Yes, right there.
On the opposite side. Now it looks like a penguin.
Gotcha. Yeah. It's just fun, how wood, when these limbs, they have a
Tim
natural
Hatch had the
bend in
same
them.
idea.
And yeah, it's a lot of fun. It was mentioned already. Yes, we have snowmen icicles. And 100% skew, 100% skew. Other than, well, these are 100%. The snowmen actually use a parting tool right at the very end. And my wife said, "Are you just going to leave them like that?" I said, "Well, I'm going to rub a little oil on them just to give them a little bit of finish. But the intention is they take them home for their children and grandchildren so they can paint them up." Same thing. These are oak pen blanks. My oak pen blanks that I cut from a church pew. That's got some black acrylic, some gold and red ink, calligraphy ink, and then it's got a quick shot of polyacrylic, Minwax polyacrylic on it just to give it a little shine. So those are the quick sale items. All three of these, the snowmen as well as the ornaments. And then yesterday for my demo, this is a piece of fogwood. I have no clue what that wood is. It was in my yard. No, this is the wood that came out from a park. I drove through the state park. In the back was a burn pile, and this log was just kind of sitting off the side of this burn pile, about a 5 foot long log. So I picked it up. I've had it here in the shop now for a year or so, and it was real punky in the very center. This is end grain, and so down in the center there, try to get some light in there. You might be able to see. Can't quite tell how punky it is, but it was real punky in the very bottom. And in fact, all of that just kind of showed up at the end. But anyway, it's fine. I'm going to leave it like it is, other than get some more finish on it. I've got 2 coats of walnut oil on it. I'm going to be like Billy. I'm going to let this sit for a few more days yet. I just put the 2nd coat on it today, so I'm going to let this sit probably till the 1st of next week, and then Bill buff it, get some carnauba wax on there, and it should shine right up. So that's I'm up to 65 of these and 30 of these, so that's where we're at right now.
Beautiful.
All right, thanks, Doug.
Thanks, guys.
All right, let's
All right.
go to Safety Sue.
Hi, guys.
Get our safety moment on, and then after safety, we'll get on to our featured demonstration for the evening.
Well, I am concerned about the Carolinas and Tennessee and the Ohio Valley. They really got hammered. Here, we had 50-mile-an-hour sustained winds with 71-mile-an-hour gusts. And all the beaches were between 6 and 8 feet of storm surge, and the boats were piled on top of everybody's lawns. When the surge went back out, they had feet of sand caked all over the place. So yeah, they did get hammered. I'm about 5 miles from the coast all the way around me, and all I got was the winds. So thank God that everybody came out safe. So anyways, let's go back to safety. And it's good to review stuff that we've had years gone by. And in August of 22, a lady by the name of Michelle Curry and her husband emailed me. Now they're both pilots, and in their wood turning club, they are joint captains for safety. And she uses some of my stuff, which is great. I'm glad they can use as much of our safety stuff as they want. If it saves one person, I'm happy. But she sent us a list of stuff, a checklist, like they use when they're flying planes. With the checklist, they know that they're going to be safe when they're turning. So these aren't in any specific order, but I'm going to read some of these. I'm going to read them all to you. Mentally and physically, are you fit to turn? Are you taking any prescribed over-the-counter or over-the-counter drugs that may cause drowsiness? Have you had any alcohol that could impair your performance? Are you retreating to your shop because of an emotional disturbance? For example, family, friends, work. Not a good idea if you are. Is your work area clear of obstacles that could cause you to trip? Is your work area clear of wires, cables, etc.? Is your clothing tight to your body as to prevent catching the lathe? Are the sleeves out of reach of the lathe? She had mentioned in her intro that she wears a belt around her smock, and she wears a skull cap because she has long hair and she puts everything inside there. Pull back your hair if you have any. You don't have to do it. Remove jewelry, bracelets, watches, etc. If you have long dangling earrings, my gosh, don't get near the lathe. You have a lobe taken off. If you have, do you have facial protection? Face shield, eyeglasses, respirator? Do you have a first aid first aid kit nearby, and you know how to use it? And that would include what we had talked a few weeks ago about tourniquets beside all your machines. Don't just put a tourniquet out there. Know how to use the tourniquet, because you can't read instructions if you're bleeding profusely. Make sure you know how to use that tourniquet. Is there a fire extinguisher nearby? I try to keep 2 in my shops just in case. And I get the little spray cans, and they're for all utilities and all, like fire from grease or wires or electric. It's a general purpose little fire extinguishers. If you're going to be working many hours, take regular breaks when possible. You do not want to get too tired or sore before taking a break. This can lead to accidents. And when you take your little breaks, stretch your hands, your arms, your back, your neck, whatever you have to do, stretch those muscles so that you continue to do what you're doing. And for heaven's sakes, keep hydrated. Do not dehydrate. If you live in a warm climate and you don't have AC in your shop, you're going to dehydrate fast, especially with the humidity and stuff. So please, folks, stay hydrated. If one mistake happens, start thinking about calling it a day. If 2 mistakes happen, definitely call it a day. I know that if I do one mistake, it's okay. I was just stupid. But if another mistake comes around, it's time to quit, guys. Also, just be safe. Make yourself a list of stuff that you want to prepare yourself for when you enter the shop. Okay, make sure the floor is clean, your lathe is clean. I like to sharpen my tools before I start turning. Folks, just have stuff around that you can quickly grab if needed, and be safe while we're in our shops. So take care this week. My prayers go out to all the people that were impacted by this horrendous hurricane. And take care, guys. I want to see you next week. Bye-bye.
Amen. Thank you, Sue.
You're
Very
welcome.
good advice, sir.
Thank you, Sue.
All right. Let's go over to North Carolina and see what Joaquin has in store for us tonight.
Well, first thing I've got is a Safety Sue moment of my own. I apologize. You're going to see a cut on my left index finger. One of the most dangerous tools we have in our shops isn't a lathe tool. It's this doggone bench chisels, and I slipped and I got myself. I'm not bleeding. I barely touched myself, but if you're doing any flat work and you got to use these bench chisels, be very aware of the direction, the energy that you are putting in the tip of this chisel is headed and where your other hand is. I lost a little bit of awareness today, and I paid for it. So
hopefully it was sharp.
Oh yeah, I just touched myself, but it opened me up. So
Better than tearing you.
Keep your tools sharp enough that if you just touch yourself, it cuts you, because that's a clean slice and it heals quickly, and it's not a tear. So
Just a little bit of CA.
a little bit CA and keep going. That's right. All right. What we're going to do is I've got some more of this spalted elm.
Hey, Joaquin, let me do the house cleaning here before the
yeah.
demo.
Yeah.
So this Joaquin's going to be demonstrating for us tonight. I will be muting everybody. Joaquin, you'll need to unmute yourself after I mute everybody. If there are questions or comments, let's hold them till after the demo, unless Joaquin wants to solicit participation from the group. Otherwise, I will be monitoring the chat and I will ask any of the questions that are filtered in at the opportune times when Joaquin's doing a tool changeover or has a pause in turning. And we do this so as to not interrupt the demonstrator when they're doing their turning, because sometimes a person can lose their train of thought. So with that, I am going to mute everybody. Joaquin, you will need to unmute yourself. And everybody is muted.
Okay. So I've got some of this spalted elm. And so I wanted to talk real quick about I don't, as far as I know, there's not a name for this technique. Book matching is where you take a piece of wood and you slice it down the middle on your bandsaw. When you lay it open, it's like the pages of a book, and that's book matching. So I think what I would call this is end matching. What I did was took the piece of wood and I had milled it down and I just cut it in half so that the ends meet. And then when you turn them face to face, you get a really neat continuation. Mostly, it's not perfect, but you get a really neat map of the spalting from the sides. So I don't know if I'm keying a new term or if that term actually exists, but I'm going to call this end matching. And that's what we're going to do tonight. So the first thing I'm going to do is use my handy dandy Duxbury center finder, which makes it really easy to get almost perfect centers inadvertently. Like I didn't line that up or anything. It's just right there.
JJ, you weren't at SWAT. How'd you get one of those?
It's a secret. It's a secret. I visited the Duxbury's. That's how. And Jim said, "Are you going to SWAT?" I said, "No, sir." And he said, "Well, here, take this." Oh, but it's a handy dandy little tool. I'll tell you. I use it more than I use my actual turning center finder because you can use it on anything. Find center, and we're just going to do glue block, waste block to hold these because it's only a little more than an inch thick and they're not even. You can see I cut this on the bandsaw and the blade wandered, so it's not even. It doesn't have to be, as long as you remember where your grains match. And the way I've set it up is so that those are the center. Bring up tailstock, little thick CA. Maybe we might have to use medium. Okay, almost out. It's time to call Starbond. Almost out of thick CA. Little accelerator over here, and you find the center, and that lets you line that piece up pretty darn good. And that's a very, very fast, very easy way to find center on an odd piece so that you can get it in to a glue block and turn it. This is going to be a fairly small box. I would say this is a ring box. We're going to use the standard procedure. We're going to turn the top first. So this is the lid. You can see it's uneven. We'll fix that in just a minute. All right, our glue is set. Face shield on. And honestly, for most of this box, this is cross grain. Grain is running in this direction. Most of this box, I'm going to use my bowl gouge. But I'm going to lower the tool rest. I've been spindle turning, so the tool rest is high. I'm not using the skew today. Not quite round. Okay, we're close enough to round. Take a look and get a little bit of that natural edge. We might try to keep some of that because it's kind of cool with the bug tracks and stuff in it. Plus, it'll help us match up the grain when we put our box together. Take our tailstock out. And flatten it. I've been doing too much spindle turning. Now, for a while, I've been turning boxes backwards or upside down. I've been putting the tenon on the lid and the recess on the base. And I realized that it had created an issue where my lids are too heavy, because in order to have that tenon on there, you've got to step in a ways, and that just leads, when you make a natural curve, you don't want to undercut the tenon and weaken it. It makes your lid heavy. So I've reversed course on that design, and I'm now putting my recess on the lid. I think we go a little bit thinner. Now, in order to keep that little bit of natural edge, we're going to have a thicker wall here. Sometimes I think it's okay to make that sacrifice for the sake of keeping something like this little feature here. I kind of like that. I think that's kind of cool. So we're going to keep it. And we are cross grain, so we will stick with the bowl gouge. And yes, this is a 5/8 inch bowl gouge, but the more I use it, I find the finer I'm able to get with it. It's
Hey,
just
JJ?
become my, yes.
Any chance you can move to light? It's washing everything out. Yeah, let's go with that angle.
Is that better?
Yeah.
On
you.
my manual, on my overhead camera, my manual camera, I can open and close the iris. I can't do that on this automatic focus camera. I'm not going to go all the way out to my wall because or to my my line, because I have to come in with a parting tool and make the sides of that recess straight. We're going to stop real quick and check our depth. Oh, we can go about another 3/8 of an inch. I am going to switch to a 1/2 inch. I'm going to throw it on the floor, a 1/2 inch scraper. I have a padded floor, so I didn't mess the tip up. And here I do need to raise the rest a little bit. Been watching a lot of Tomislav Tomasic and Richard Raffin. And enjoying some of their scraper technique. All right, I have to, I got to aim the light in there for a second. Sorry. Okay, good. Okay, now we're ready to put our recess in. And at this point, because we don't have the tenon formed yet, we really have a lot of control over what we do as far as the depth of the recess and width of the walls. At this stage, we really have complete control of how that's going to end up shaping out. So what I do is I line up the shaft of the tool with the bedway of the lathe. That ensures that I come in straight so that the sides of my recess are parallel. And I have a perfect, I'm sorry?
You got smoke coming off of there.
No, this is really, really dry. That is powder dust. There's no heat in here. It is just very dry. This elm was standing spalted, and it really, really is dry. I could take a tiny bit more out of here. Just a hair. Again, lining that up, make sure I have very, very straight sides. Yeah, it does look like smoke. That is just super fine powdery dust. Now, something to notice, depending, the smaller the size of your circle, the more effect this has. You can have the angle of your parting tool start to kick your tool out of line. So be aware that it wants to naturally start to, because of the angle, it wants to start to move in like that, and counter that with your cut. It's just something, be conscious of it. Make sure that you're getting a straight cut as possible. And I think it's Sam Angelo has a technique to proof whether or not this is a straight side on his recesses, but I can't remember. I'll have to look that up and see if I can find it again in one of his videos. I cannot remember quite how he did it. All right, I want to clean this up in the inside a tiny bit more. For that, I'm going to go to my 3/8 inch spindle gouge with the Mark Soleil signature grind. Much better. And then I'm going to scrape across the bottom one more time with that 1/2 inch scraper. We're not going to sand tonight, but as soon as you're happy with the shape of the inside of the lid of your box, at this stage, you want to sand it to completion, all the way to, depending on what you're using for finish, all the way up to finish. Because once you take this off of the lathe, however you're holding it, once I separate it from the waste block, I'm never going to be able to hold it straight again to get to the inside. You can, but it's really it's a lot of work to find a way to jam it and hold it in order to do it. So be sure that this is exactly what you want, what the inside of your boxes looks like, the shape. Make sure that it's the way you want it, because once you get it off of however you're holding it, it's very, very, very difficult to get it back onto the lathe. But that's the inside of that turn. We're going to part this off once we get this mounted on the other side. So we will bring up another little waste block. If you don't have a bucket of waste blocks, talk to Captain Eddie. He'll explain it.
Yeah.
He's where I learned it.
Yeah.
I have a 5
in stock.
I'm working on my second 5-gallon bucket of waste blocks. So you can see I've already used this one. It's a mess. So first thing we'll do is clean it up real quick. A trick with these waste blocks is find a known flat surface. You can use the shaft of your tool. I've got a diamond card right here, but you can see whether or not that's flat so that you can glue to it immediately with a known flat surface. That's good and flat. I do want to clean this just a hair. We'll just do a light scrape. A little bit of glue right there. Clean that off. And we're going to do the exact same procedure we did with the other half and a little C8 glue. Bring up your tailstock. We already established center on the other piece of our block. Now remember, I established center here. So that's center to center, which is how we get our matchup of our spalt. I recommend you use thick for this because you got to turn it vertical. And unless you're very, very quick, medium will run, and thin, good luck. Okay. Give that a second. While that is setting up, we are going to take our vernier caliper and measure the outside diameter here. So we have a little bit of flat. That'll all get fixed when we turn it the second time on the outside. So we're going to get a diameter here. Make sure at our narrowest point, yep, we're going to have a little bit of flat there. That's fine. Let's see if that's set. Okay, glue is set. First thing we're going to do this time is flatten this surface so that we can set our outside diameter. So we have to trust that CA glue immediately. Thankfully, it sets pretty quickly. Back to bowl gouge.
Can we minimize the light again, JJ?
Sorry. Is that better?
No, that's good. Perfect.
I'm working on getting a better camera for that angle. Actually, might be a better angle to look straight down and see what's going on anyway.
We all struggle with the lights when we're demoing.
All right, let's check our flatness. Again, I really like to use my little diamond cards. It just works really well. I have a slight concavity. Pretty good. Pretty good. Good enough to establish our circle. Slow the lathe down. Raise your tool rest so that the center of your caliper is at the level of the center. You only want to touch this side. Remembering that we have a little bit of a gap because of that natural edge. We have just a hair under. Yeah, I think that'll be okay. So that's just giving a rough estimate. Let me color that in. Just getting a rough estimate of circumference so that I don't turn it too thin immediately, because I have to put a tenon on here. So I'm going to come in some more, but I want to make sure that my outside edge is as close to the same size as the outside edge of the other part. All right, we're just outside our pencil line, and that is more than adequate to get the next step done. And we, on that piece of wood was narrowing, so we did lose our natural edge there. That's a little tiny bit of it right there. So that being said, we will fix the outside shape of the lid of the bowl in a minute after we establish our tenon. We're going to take one more pass across the top here. And then we're going to work on our tenon. So, again, with the horrible camera, let's see if I can improve that angle just a hair. There we go. And we want to take our vernier caliper again, measure the inside diameter of our recess. Again, we have a nice flat surface. We'll slowly lay it down. Touch the edge closest to you, to the wood. If you touch that side, it'll pick that tool up and kick it right at you. They get a nice little, okay. Give me a second, and then I will color it in so that you guys can see it. I've got a nice line here. That makes it a little bit more visible. And this is going to be the outside of our tenon. Now, I was watching Richard Finley turn a box, and he made mention of a trick that Jimmy Clues teaches. And I've been using it, and it is incredibly effective. And I don't know why I never thought of it before. But what it is when you make your tenon, rather than making your sides perfectly straight, you make it just a tiny bit bowed. So you have a low end on the inside, a high in the middle, and a low on the bottom. What this does is gives you still get your wood turners pop, you get a good jam, but it enables you to make a lid that is easier to get on and off while still having that same strength of the jam. You still get your pop, and you'll see. I'm going to do it. It really is a neat trick. It's pretty effective. One thing that I would like to caution is don't hollow before you have your tenon established. And the reason for that is because this is going to cause a lot of compression, and we want to make sure that there's plenty of strength in the wood behind that tenon, backing that up so that when we do our jam and we get that compression, we're not crushing that tenon and breaking it. Probably side grain is a little bit better than end grain for that, but you can actually just crumble a tenon on end grain if it's too strong pretty easily. So we're going to go back to the parting tool, and I've got that line there.
Hey, JJ, about what speed you turning at?
So this is less than 3 inches in diameter. So I'm running around 1200, 1300 RPM because it's so thin. I wouldn't, if this was a 6-inch wide box, I'd be running around 900 RPM.
Right on. Thank you.
This is cross grain, so I'm really not doing a peeling cut. It's a scrape. But on the end grain, it works like a peeling cut. So for 2 quick quarters, one on each side, it's a peeling cut, but otherwise it's a scrape. And I took the depth here. I just want to make sure that I'm reflecting that depth there. I can go a little tiny bit deeper. I also stopped way short of my line here. So I don't know if you can see, but I've got about a 1/16 of an inch, maybe a little bit more to my line. At this point, I'm going to start making my rounded over tenon. So I'm kind of using a skew technique and a scraping technique at the same time. And I'm going to take it down just outside that line. Now let's see if
you're making a bead, and that is called a beading parting tool for a reason.
True. Yeah. I'm making a bead. Essentially, it's a very, very shallow bead. I'm not sure if you can quite visualize it. Let me see if I have a white piece of paper. Yes, I do. Plans for the workbench I made today. Can you see here that we have just the point, or the round, the high point of our bead,
crown,
and then it comes back down here and it comes back down in here. Now, one thing we're going to do, crown. Thank you, crown.
You're welcome.
So right about there is the crown of our bead. Now, it's a little bit this side. I'm going to leave it that way, and I'll show you why. Coming in with a 1/4 inch mini skew in the scraping position, I am going to make a little tiny V-shaped notch right down there at the bottom. This especially helps opening when you have a jam fit on the lid. That lets a little bit of air get in there, and that'll help let that lid come off and make it just a little bit smoother. So I know this is oversized. It is barely oversized. So I know that I need to work down a little bit more. And once I can get the front edge of that, now remember the sides of my recess are straight. Once I can get that front edge in, I can make a friction burn and see, I can take that crown down to that friction burn, and that will give me an almost perfect jam just about every time. I have a lot less failures doing it this way. So again, yep, we're beating. And you can get that tip in there and keep that little V groove at the bottom. All right, we're going to try it again. I've also found doing it this way, there's less trial and error rather than trying to fit it 12 or 14 times. Of course, it's a demonstration, so I'm going to end up fitting it 12 or 14 times. Usually it's 5 or 6 times. All right, so we're still too proud.
Hey, JJ, out of consistencies for demos for all of us that have done fitted box lids, you need to spend at least 5 minutes trying to get this fit.
Okay, I'm on it.
Don't try to one-up us now.
I'm trying to teach you a technique that makes it quicker.
There you go.
Because it really does.
Yep. Yeah, we all do fine too when the camera ain't showing and there's 85 people watching.
Yep. You hit it like the 3rd try and you're like, oh, I never do that. And you never do again. All right, we're much closer. Much closer. We're still too big intentionally. I don't know if you can see it. Let's see if you can see this or not. So I still have the thickness of my pen. I still have the thickness of my pencil. That's not the line. I have the thickness of my pencil lead here still. That's what I'm turning away. Get that fuzz out of there. That'll help. And again, to keep that little V groove, just stand that edge of that front edge of that beating and parting tool up. Really using it primarily as a negative rake scraper at that point. Okay, now we're getting to where we can start to pare that down. I get a tiny bit of a friction groove there, friction burn right on the edge. We could be pretty close. Another trick to fitting your lid is start trying to line up your features. I don't know if you've noticed that I've been doing that, but if you can line up your features while you fit that lid, you have a much better fit, especially cross grain, because the grain again is running this way and the grain is going to move because it's the same piece of wood from end to end. It's the same piece of the wood. The grain's going to move almost uniformly. So even though we're turning it and we're working it, if it decides to move, it's going to stretch in cross grain, long length direction, and it's going to move about the same amount. So just something to remember. If you match your grain on that box, you should when it moves, because wood moves, you should be able to keep it fairly consistent. Okay, we are at this point just making little revisions, little refinations. The crown is too crowny. We're gonna ease that crown a little bit and we should have a nice jam. I don't know if you can see the compression. Let's see if we can show you that compression. Yes. See that ridge of compression right there? So
Yes.
I know that that's going to be that's where the crown of my bead is going to impact and create the jam. Get you focused again. There we go. So if I just turn down to that, I should have a pretty nice jam. Alrighty. I'm going to take it a little tiny bit more. And again, trying to keep that V down at the bottom so that air can get in there when we're opening it, and air can escape when we close it. There she is. Just a skosh too tight. I don't know if you can notice this or not, but we have a high point and it's rocking and it's on the end on the axis of the side grain. The wood is moving, but it's moving in the same direction from the top piece to the bottom piece. There we go. Not bad. All right. Now, even though we had a little bit of a gap, our spalting is doing some similar, almost mirror-like things. You can see we lost, because we lost some with the tenon, we lost some width here. But if you open the tenon up, you can see that pattern is consistent. So we're close. Not really much way to make it closer in this case, but that's pretty good. Here, it's just the same way that you turn a box any other time. We're going to match up the widths of the outside here and shape it a little. I've got plenty of thickness here, so we can shape it a little bit. See if we can't kind of blend to our natural edge here and keep some of that natural edge. Let's see what we can do with it. let's take a look. Too much of a step. A little bit smoother. We're going to kind of make a bit of a V cut here. Now this is spindle. That's end grain. Little piece of sapele I didn't even know I had. Ooh. Closer, closer.
Your witness line is going to disappear on you. Looking good.
Yeah, I think I like that. I think with sanding, that will just blend and we'll have this neat little spot right here of bug trail. Yeah.
Hold on. It looks like an old M7. Looks like an old monkey mask.
So you can see, we lost a little bit of our spalt pattern, but it still kind of trails together pretty well. And that's really kind of the trick, the thing that I wanted to show is how to make that effect happen. From here, this being the lid of the box, we would come around here. Well, let's go ahead and do it. We'll part that off and get some shape to it. Perfect. Now, this is a really tight jam. We need to be cognizant of that. We will loosen it up a little bit, but especially if we were going to use this as a ring box or market it as a ring box, we want to make sure that it still has a decent friction fit. So we have to be careful how we shape the lid of the box because the customer needs to be able to open it. So at this point, what I usually like to do is put some kind of a flare in this section so that you can get your fingers into it and open the box. So we'll do that.
Again, what size gouge you using there?
That's a 5/8. That is a 5/8 inch bowl gouge. That's a Thompson 5/8 inch bowl gouge, British 1/2 inch.
So you're showing, even with big tools, you can make dainty items. Very good.
Absolutely. It's all about tool control. The size of the tool can make a difference, but the way you use it is all the difference in the world. Now, I'm going to give this a little bit of shape. Try to mirror the shape of the inside and the outside of the lid here. I have found with this bowl gouge that the more I use it, the more explicitly dainty I am able to be with it. There are things that just because the tool shaft is so big, you just can't do it. But you most certainly can make very delicate cuts with a big tool. And I find that the weight, because this is such a big tool shaft, and I mean, this is a big tool, I find that the weight gives me a lot more stability and I can make much more steady cuts. Just simply because I'm not trying to make sure that the tool isn't bouncing. It weighs enough that it handles those kind of forces on its own pretty well. Let's see. I hate to blind you guys. I'm sorry. I can't quite see this. I want to have a nice, crisp transition right here. Beautiful. Beautiful. Not bad. So I'm kind of mirroring the inside. I've got a little bit of a ring of a rim, something that your fingers can get a hold of. Now, can we open it? That was a pretty good jam. Okay, we're going to teach you how to cheat. If you get in a position like this where your jam's too good, you have not lost your piece. You do lose a little bit of freedom as far as your design is concerned. What we'll do is create a V with this point tool right at the crack here, and that's going to give us.
Flip your camera.
Oh, sorry.
Okay.
What we're going to do is create a V with this point tool right at the separation. And before we take that apart, using the little purchase we just created, we're going to decorate. So you'll have to give me a moment to find a sliver of wood. I'm not a big fan of wire burning. Having worked with rotary equipment on naval vessels, loose wire and spinning machinery is terrifying. But this is a technique I learned from a young lady who makes makeup handles. And just take a wood chip and it can't wrap around the piece. And if for some reason you have some kind of a catch or something, it just drops straight down. So your fingers can't get cut off. And not bad. We'll get a little bit more in here. There we go. So you can do your friction burn with a wedge, this little cutoff from my table saw, or a splinter. If you split wood, you have plenty of those, and you can get your friction burn and your fingers are not at risk. So we have a little bit of a crease here. Now we are going to abuse a 1-inch skew chisel for a second. Or you could use that bench chisel if you don't want to abuse your skew chisel. There we go. Now you'll notice once I got it to move off that, it popped. So I know that all I have to do is just a tiny bit of adjustment and I'll have a good friction fit lid. Once I got that to move, it went right off. So we just have to take the crown down just a hair and we should still have a decent friction fit.
JJ, are you going to do that with sandpaper or with a tool?
I'm going to use a tool. And here's why. I never sand my tenon. I do hit it with my sanding paste, but I never sand my tenon. If you're going to have a friction fit, you need to have friction. So if you make your tenon super smooth, you lose your friction no matter what. So I try not to sand this very, very well. That's just something I've developed, is not sanding the tenon.
I do the same thing, JJ.
I've never had a customer complain, because if I hit it with the sanding paste, it looks like it's sanded.
Right.
Okay, still just a skosh too tight. I'm gonna have to abuse that skew chisel again. We just need to take the hip of that.
Well, I like that you're giving that tenon a little bit more extra attention, JJ.
I'm just doing it for you guys so you don't feel bad.
Okay. We appreciate it, buddy. We appreciate it.
Look at that.
JJ, you know what?
Yes, sir.
This is fantastic. This is fantastic. Thank you.
Oh, thank you.
Believe me, I am paying attention.
Okay, we lost a little flake of wood. That's how tight that tenon was. I'm going to I've got it, so we're going to CA glue that back in real quick. Let's hit it with the thin, just so that we can maintain that consistent wall there. Now, thin wicks. You put a few drops and that actually capillary action sucking that down right in there. I'm going to show you another trick. I just glued my finger. Oh no, what am I going to do? Cool thing about CA glue, twists right off. If you pull, you'll rip your skin. If you twist, you're fine. So we just fixed that little mistake. And we're just going to ease this, the crown here. That's our problem. That's our crux, is right as that pops closed, it's too tight. So we've just got to back that off just a hair more. That may do it. And here, if you can twist it, twisting it'll ease that. No, I think we're going to scrape it just a hair more. Ooh, it just wants to make a liar out of me tonight. And we took that flake right back off. That might have been where our catch was. Yeah, that flake, that raised area where that wood flaked off was where the catch was. Coming right off now. Oh, that's unfortunate. And the reason why, this is spalted wood, and that's punky. And that just was just soft enough that that just ripped right up. So we'll hollow the box out, finish the shape, finish the inside real quick. But that one's going to be a failure. And that's okay. It happens. The cool thing about when things like that happen, when you're working with wood, is it gives you an opportunity to remember that it's easy to replace because wood grows on trees.
Indeed. Or in ditches.
Yeah, on the side of the road. And I have to go pick it up, but neighbor across the street had a black locust blow down, and he saved me some branches. The body of the tree was too rotten. The trunk was pretty rotten, but the branches were pretty good shape. So I will be doing some black locust boxes.
You could glue a collar in of contrasting wood.
I
and
could,
use
yeah.
that.
Yeah, absolutely. So there are several ways that I can salvage this. Certainly a collar is, or an insert of some kind is one. I think I have a closet spud. I could actually put a brass ring in there. There's so many different ways to fix that. That would take a little while. Not demonstration ways to fix that, unfortunately.
And it's easier, just go grab another couple squares and make another one.
But there are definitely plenty of ways to fix that. Paying attention to my cuts would be a good way to help prevent that too. All right, I think we're just about to depth. And we have a shorter ways to go depth-wise here because we lost some height with the tenon. So we will check it. We still have plenty of room. Take at least a quarter of an inch out of there. So remember, this is cross grain, so we're cutting it just like a bowl. If this was end grain, I would be working from the inside out. But being as this is cross grain, I'm using the exact same technique as I would turning a bowl. I'm just doing it smaller. And that forces me to practice better tool control. So this is always a great exercise in just learning to use your tools more carefully. All right, we are pretty good. We're going to flatten that little edge off where I got that catch. We'll just use this as a shear scrape orientation here. Just flatten that down. There we go. So here again, we would sand. I think I am going to scrape because I want to adjust the shape of the bottom corner inside here a little bit. I'm going to use a negative rake bowl scraper that I made by, where did I put it? Repurposing a cheap Savannah scraper and reshaping it. Maybe. A recommendation that I make is if you want to play with the shapes of tools and especially scrapers, don't use your expensive tools. Don't use your Sorby scrapers and mess with the shapes. Buy Savannah. They're cheap. They're like $13 for a scraper. So it's no big deal to reshape it as many times as you want. Why am I missing that scraper? That's weird. Okay, we'll use the other one. but the Savannah ones are inexpensive. It's not very good high-speed steel. It is fairly soft for high-speed steel, which also makes it easier for you to reshape it. But it's inexpensive, so you're not losing a lot of money. Now, this is another box scraper I made, where I made a sharper angle and kicked this edge in a little bit so that I'm not dragging the whole shaft of the tool down the side of the box. This is also negative rake. I have to figure out where I put that Savannah. Well, this leaves a sharp corner in the bottom of the box. Some people prefer sharp corners, some people do not. It's all up to you. It's your artwork. Not bad. Pretty clean in there. All right, we're going to very quickly show you when you're doing a small box like this. Essentially, what you have when you put the lid on and finish turn the lid is you have a jam chuck, right? This is a jam chuck. So why not finish the bottom of the box with a jam chuck too, which we're going to do, hopefully. Now I'm going to spend half the night worrying about where I put that darn scraper, because it's not in the usual places. What would I have done with that scraper? It's got a, what I did is it's an asymmetric scraper. If you watch Richard Raffin, it's shaped a lot like his asymmetric inside corner bowl scraper, except it's got a negative. Mine has a negative rake. His does not. So if you're familiar with his asymmetric scraper, that's the scraper I use. And I just mimicked his. All right. So in my bowl O cutoffs, I am looking for something that will make a suitable jam. And I have a big chunky cutoff, but it'll work really well for a recessed jam. So this is, again, this is just a piece of end grain. This is the end of one of the vases I made. Now I could jam this inside or outside. I could make a spigot that fits down in here, but I have slopes sides, so that probably wouldn't jam very well. So we'll do a recess. So we'll do the exact same way we fit the lid in reverse. We'll take our diameter, slow the lathe down, touch the tip closest to us. Look at that, dead on. You can't see it because that camera's garbage. All right. Just come in with a parting tool. Actually, we will come in with a spindle gouge real quick. And then we'll come in with our parting tool. Straight sides again. Just sight right down the bedway of the lathe. You get nice straight parallel sides. Again, the angle on the bottom edge is wanting to kick the tip that direction the deeper I go. So I counter that by just tipping it in, tilting it in a little bit, and getting that edge away from the arc of the circle. And that counteracts, but I have to pay attention or I start doing this, and I don't necessarily want to do that. So I just kind of tip it that way a little bit so that I'm just using this little corner to scrape. And that should help you keep your parallel sides. Now we want this jam to be fairly tight. And I will show you how to take it out once it's in there. And we finish the bottom. So right here, basically, I'm just using the top edge of my parting tool like a negative rake scraper. I'm just pulling it back against there to widen that very, very slightly. I think I need to make that a little bit deeper. That's my problem. Another thing on end grain that you can do is come in like that with the tip, rotate it, and you can actually just pull it straight out. And it'll cut unless you need to sharpen it. There we go. Now it's about time to sharpen that scraper again, or that parting tool again. There we go. Okay, so when you do a jam like this, it is always wise to bring up your tailstock until you absolutely cannot maintain tailstock support anymore. This piece is end grain. We can treat it as such, cut it as such. Let me touch up my parting tool real quick. That's why I keep the diamond card there. I want to lift a tiny bit of a burr. There we go. That'll help with my peel cut here. We'll come above and a peeling cut. We'll widen it so that that tool doesn't get bound in there. All right, we're going to stop and we're going to double check, make sure that we're happy with our jam. That's a pretty decent jam. And at this point, discretion is the better part of valor. You can turn it all the way away, but I find it to be infinitely safer to have a little pull saw around. And just saw that little nib off. Make sure it ends up back in your bucket of cutoffs, because you can use that as a glue block 3 or 4 more times at least. Okay, maybe 1 or 2, but you can reuse it. So from here, finish your bottom, however you finish the bottom. Jam is holding. We'll go with the Mark Soleil spindle gouge here. Aha. Good thing I'm wearing a face shield. And we lost it. Yay. Wouldn't be a demo if everything didn't go wrong.
That's right.
That was spinning backwards, so it came back toward the lathe. That was funny. So I got a little bit too aggressive. We'll lighten up that cut a little bit.
Sorry for you, JJ, but I'm not the only one.
No. If you look, if you don't have disasters like that happen, you're not turning enough.
Exactly. Yeah.
You're not turning enough. So
Yep.
less of a cut, lighter cut. So one thing when you use jams that you need to remember is ease up. You're not between centers anymore. You're not in the chuck. You're in a jam. There we go. All right. So again, however you like to finish the bottom of your pieces, that's all you. I do recommend that little corner gets softened. Just a tip. I always recommend you soften that bottom corner. Now, if you're unable to get your piece out of your jam, which obviously we can, so it's not necessarily an issue. This is an end grain. My jam chuck is end grain. So what I can do is take a peeling cut without cutting the piece all the way out. The thinner the walls are here, the less pressure. Remember I said that you want to turn your tenon, you want to keep the meat of the piece in there. You don't want to hollow before you turn your tenon because that bulk of that wood is going to support that tenon. This exact same concept, we're going to start peeling that away and removing bulk and watch what happens. So pretend we can't get this out. We're going to peel down close to it. We don't want to hit the jam, right? We don't want to mess up our tenon. We've spent lots of time making sure that tenon's perfect. So we want to turn down close to it. Just about to it. Come down just a little bit more. Now at this point, what we've done with the end grain is weakened it. So we should be able to just peel that out. And you can go down a lot thinner. It's not necessary because this jam wasn't as jammy as we thought it was. But you'll weaken this. So you say you try and, I still can't get it, take it down a little bit more. Oh, I still can't get it, take it down a little bit more. Ultimately, it'll be thin enough that you can just peel it out and you'll crack the side of the wall and that'll pop right loose. So there is the procedure for a end match side grain box. And you still get that pretty cool spalting match here, match effect. It's not terribly off. And the cool thing is if somebody notices and if they ask about it, you can open the box and show them there's where it continues. You can see that's almost an exact mirror so that you can explain when you cut the tenon, you lost that much and that changed the pattern just enough that you can notice it. Any questions?
That's
very good. All right, floor is open for questions if anybody's got any. Just be mindful of people who are talking and don't step over them while they're speaking.
Yes, sir.
JJ?
Yes, sir.
I for most of my life, I've worked in the construction business, and I know a lot about matching. I know a lot about that. And yes, you made it really close. You made it really.
Yeah,
close.
this one it's not bad. It's not bad.
Yes, you did.
I could have been a little, well, the reason why, okay, so the reason why it's off as noticeably as pronounced as it is, if you remember when we started, this piece was not flat. It had a slight
Right,
angle.
right,
So
right,
one end was
right.
thicker than the other. So when I took that down and flattened it, that changed the geography just enough to make the mismatch a little bit more pronounced.
Right, right. But I mean, that's really good. Really good. Believe me, you had my attention all night. Look
Well,
at
thank
that.
you very
Look
much,
at
Al.
that.
I appreciate it.
Look at that. There you go. That's match. That's pretty
Really
close to
nice.
match. That's pretty close to Matchbox.
It's not bad. It's close. And
it's pretty good.
The grain, the spalting pattern can make or break that too. This has got a real fine spalting pattern. That little section right there is a 32nd of an inch wide. That comes down to about a 16th of an inch wide. That's really, really fine. If that spalting pattern was a little bit wider, a little less intricate, it probably would fool your eyes a lot better. But it's still not bad.
No,
and
it's
what's
pretty
cool
good.
is you can explain to your customer, oh, well, it's actually the piece goes like this, and it's a continuous piece of wood. And there's where the magic really is. There's where you can see the spalt match up really, really well. And then you close it and it makes sense. It's logical why it works that way. So if you which is again why keeping a natural feature like that, or if you have something like this where there was pith, that helps because it lets you line up that grain as close as possible.
That is cool. Real cool.
Yeah, it's a great use of remnant with little 2-inch and 3-inch remnants of offcuts, and especially if anyone does flat work. It's
absolutely all these little again your bucket O cutoffs. Let's look at my bucket O cutoffs real quick, and I'll show you a couple of things that just haven't quite made it, but they're going to. There's some spalted maple. That's going to be a box. It's going to be a really small box. That's 1.5 inches across. But look at, I mean, just how expressive that is. It's end grain.
Yeah.
But it's made a nice jam too. So once I can no longer jam with it, I'll make a box out of it. Conical jam for a vase with the tailstock up. That's a nice piece of walnut. That's going to end up being a lid. These are the kind of things that end up in my bucket of cutoffs. And then one day I look at my bucket of cutoffs and go, oh, there's some
nice
more
little box
spalted
in
maple.
itself.
Yeah, that would be a good lid for a several species box. Say, walnut body, spalted maple lid. I'm there. Or what is that? Oh, here's some hickory. There's some spalted hickory with frass in it. But that might turn into something. That I ended up using as a jam. It was sitting on a flat center on my life center and was holding probably a vase, just so that I had a little bit of support once I'd hollowed out the opening of the vase. So these little cutoffs, all these little things, these little treasures, what does Kim Tippin say? There's no such thing as scrap wood, only wood I haven't turned yet. And that's what your bucket of cutoffs. I can't tell you how many pieces that I've shown you guys came from that bucket of cutoffs. It's incredibly useful.
Well, you know what, JJ, also, you explained a lot tonight because I have nothing but a French fit if I ever make a box. So,
okay.
I mean, I was like front and center all night. The whole night was so enjoyable. Thanks.
Well, thank you. Thank you.
No,
And
thank
look,
you.
even with the chip there, and even with losing where I had that catch and lost, I still have a
No, just to explain, the way we want to make a fit. I mean,
Well, and like I said, Richard Finley mentioned that little tip of essentially making your tenon a bead offhandedly in one of his videos, and I started thinking about it and I started doing it, and I've been making boxes. I've got a big event next week. I've been making boxes for it that I'm laser engraving the lid, and I've turned out 10 boxes, all of them with a pop fit. And I can't tell you this is the first time in almost 10 years of turning that I've turned 10 boxes in a row, all having a friction fit. Before I learned that little trick, it didn't happen. It was every third box was loose. So I'd say if that increases my average by 1 or 2 boxes, so I go from every third to every fifth, I'm doing good. 10 in a row with a pop fit. It's a game changer.
Yeah,
it's a game changer.
It's a game changer.
Just
believe me.
little things you do to make things work.
Yep. Great demo, JJ.
Oh, it was such a great demo. Believe me, so enjoyable.
Thank you.
I had such an enjoyable night.
All right. Does anybody else have any questions or comments for JJ?
I've got one more thing
All right.
to say. Send in your artwork. Editor at worldwidewoodturners.org. We got a bigger than the upcoming newsletters is juicier, it's thicker. But the cool thing about being the editor of the newsletter is if 50 of you send in pictures, I can put in 50 pages because it's up to me. So I'm not going to make it smaller. So please send in your artwork.
Very good. All right, JJ, thank you very much. Once again, I appreciate it. Everybody else appreciates it. Anybody else that wants to step up and do a demo, I'm looking for new demonstrators to give the regular folks a longer break in between doing a demo. So if you would like to do a demo for us, or you don't need any fancy camera setups or anything, you can do it on your cell phone. I do mine on an Android. Doug Miller does his on his cell phone. Various others do the same thing. It's real simple to do. And if you do have a camera set up, invite us into your shop and take us down the road and show us a little project that you can do for us. We greatly appreciate it. So with that, let's go to Captain Eddie and see what he thought about this tonight.
I love it. I love it. Ring boxes are a big deal, really. And they're fun to turn, but hey, look, when you're playing with those scrap buckets, don't get stuck on making it all matchy-matchy. They really look cool if you don't go matchy-matchy. Like just now came up, Billy said, put a ring on it and save it. Think about that. Think about a unmatchy-matchy, where you start putting the pieces together, like do the bases or the 2 box pieces out of one, and then do some inserts in the base and the ring out of another color that you got laying on the floor over there. Instead of putting it in burn pile, play around with what some people refer to as scrap wood, which is really just done during projects. JJ did, just blend them together and come up with a unique project. And remember, folks, when you're playing with this, detailing it out will really shine the diamond. It really will. When you get all done, crisp a few edges off, burn a few lines in them, put a little embellishment on them. Be careful about embellishment. There's a fine line between embellish and gaudy. It really is. So sometimes just 1 or 2 little swirls or a swirl with a ring and a burned-in line is just adequate. But if you start stacking them on top of each other, it kind of looks like you're trying to hide sins, and then they mix up. So stay away from that. JJ just mentioned to send in those photographs. He's got plenty of room. In fact, I kind of think JJ was challenging you. Really. He's a gentleman. He really is. And he wouldn't say, I dare you to send in all this stuff because then I'll have to make this newsletter such and such. Go ahead. I dare you. See that chip? Knock that chip off. That's JJ. That's what he was doing. You got photographs of this work that you do, send it on in. I saw pieces in the gallery tonight and people were showing that are worthy of our newsletter. They're worthy of the big book that some people say, hey, maybe I'll make the big book. This is the big book, boys and girls. This is the one. This is it. This is one where we don't have a team of artists that sit back and say, oh, we don't know this guy. We don't have that. No, you send in work. We like the work. We put it up there. We show folks. We want you people to see what you turn and how you do it. And if it's really unique, we may want to peek over your shoulder. We do. We want to take a look at how you did it, how you held it. Take a few photographs. Yeah, especially those hard to hold projects. It's been my mantra since I got started in this. If I can hold it, I can turn it. Because when I got started, people would say, oh, you can't turn it because you can't hold it. I'm sorry. But if I can squeeze it between two surfaces, I can hold it. And I've seen some really dumb holding patterns and ideas in my life. Some of them are all right, but some are really, really dumb. So we want to see how yours works out. You got to learn. Let me know about it. Funny thing, when you remember your dreams, sometimes you're really in the out land, and some days I'm in the out land. I had a dream last night. I was in a fastener place. I don't know why I was in that fastener place, but they had some very unique fasteners and clips and brackets and all that. But they sold Staub centers. Yeah. And I'm looking at the Staub centers thinking, man, I got to remember the name of this place and tell everybody where to go. Because people miss on some of these ideas. And when I was in a club one time, I had a guy tell me Staub centers are all 3/4 inch across, et cetera, et cetera. And I said, that just doesn't, that sounds like a restriction. Well, I think when I closed up my stuff, I had 4 different sizes of Staub centers, from 1/4 to 1 inch. Yeah, Staub centers, because they're really handy for holding things, especially in the bottle stoppers with spindles and such. And we got into that conversation earlier this evening, if you hadn't joined us. And if you missed any of this, remember, everything that happens here goes on recall. Yeah. In a day or two, our master webmaster, Dave Rhodes, puts this entire program and its demonstrations on our Facebook, on our newsletter, on our website. I'll get there. But everything we do is out in the wide open of everybody. You don't have to pay for it. You don't have to sign up and promise and pledge and all that stuff. No, it's right there. It's the world's greatest source of wood turning. But tonight we were talking about how spindle turning will improve your turning. I'm going to go right along with Billy Burt and a couple of the others that said that. Yes, I became a much better turner when I managed to master my skew. I went to a class at Airmont. I could turn cowboy hats. I could get down to do super thin cowboy hats. And I was really very comfortable. But I took a class with Ellie Avacero. And then I came home and decided I am going to master that skew. I concentrated for about a month on how to work with that skew. Nothing else, just that. And people say, you got to be crazy to do that. I'm an old bass fisherman. I learned that if you want to learn how to fish with plastic worms, the only thing you bring with you is plastic worms. No backup. Yep. And then that's it. If you want to learn how to fish with a crankbait, only bring crankbaits. So if you want to learn how to cut with a skew, only bring the skew. Billy had it right on the trip. It is the most efficient tool you'll have in your toolbox. It is the simplest to explain to somebody. It's so simple to explain. All you do is pick up a stick off the ground and hand them a pocket knife and give them a stick and say, here, whittle away. How you would cut this stick with this pocket knife is what's going to happen on your lathe with your skew. Really, really. Just take a look at it. We talked about it earlier this evening. The napkin stands that Brenda made. those are works of art. Martin showed us that a couple of weeks ago, how to do that thing, and Brenda took it to another degree. You should put a long neck on a couple of them, but you got to have a place sometimes to hide things. I was waiting for the captured ring, Brenda. That's what I thought. You were going to do the captured ring that Uncle did, Buffalo did earlier.
Right.
A captured ring decorated like that. That would look really good. But Brenda took it to another degree. Now, when Brenda goes to show those napkin stands, unfortunately, what's going to catch everybody's eye is the fact she's going to properly select the napkins from the gift store and put them in there, and that flash of color and the way it's displayed with the art of wood and a little hat that's done right on it and all that is going to make people go, I like that. Right there, it's going to snap to them. I like that. And you'll like it too. And that's another project that came right here on Worldwide Woodturners. How do you do it? We give you, show you the pattern. Tonight's little ring box. Are you giving somebody a ring for the holidays? Are you? Or is somebody coming up? Is somebody going to get their senior ring for high school or college this year? One of your grandkids, nieces, nephews, whatever. A nice ring display box. Wouldn't that be nice? Turn them a box that they can put it in and take pictures with it. Yeah. And or a gift. Yes. The ring may be the gift, but the real present will be the thing that you made and you gave them. That's what's important. And don't forget, this is the boo time of the year. This is October. Yes, the boo time of the year. We only saw one boo item tonight. I think Matt had a boo decoration up tonight. Looking for some boo decorations. I got a picture the other day of somebody that he did a big mouse and three little bitty mice following it, or a big rat and three little mice following it. Simple little turning idea, but his thing was he did it all with the skew and very little sanding, and you can see some excellent cuts. He learned how to slice that wood, and he learned it right here, Worldwide Woodturners. That's why he sent me the photograph. He said he only used his skew to prop open the garage door before he joined this club, because he had no idea what it did and how it did it. And here we showed him that it's a great blade, and the way you use it is like a knife, and you slice the wood off. And that's what we try to do. We have time for more gallery tonight. I'll be back out in a few minutes. The boss just came in from her dancing thing. This is a great meeting, folks. If you've got work for information for the newsletter, send it to us. If you got photographs for our newsletter, editor at worldwidewoodturners.org is the place to go. If you want information on woodturning, all the events in the entire woodturning world are available at worldwidewoodturning.org. It is, without doubt, the world's finest website for woodturning. It's 5 years in the making. You're looking at all the people that put it together. The people that put that together are right here. If you did a gallery look at the screen, you're looking at the club. You're looking at the backbone of woodturning. I'm so proud to be associated with these people, these folks right here, because all the time they think about the quality of your woodturning, and a nickel never comes on the table. You know, that's got to make you feel good. It doesn't matter if you got a nickel or not. You're still a friend of ours. We still got room for you in the tailgate. We still got room for you in the gallery. So who's got what? Who's up? Who's handling gallery? Who's on the deck? Who's on the deck?
All right, Matt, who we got up next?
Who's up?
Well,
Matt?
the only person we got on the list for gallery is Patrick Hoggard. So let's see what Patrick's got.
Only person. Come on. Patrick, blow us away, buddy.
What you got, Patrick? Ooh.
Well,
He's
here's
been
one.
playing around with the carving some more, and this piece of wood, I'm not sure what it is. It's a soft wood. It's not pine, but it's in that family, I guess. But it was.
That's pretty.
It was hard to carve because the bit wanted to follow the grain, and I kind of messed that one up.
You did a heck of a job on the outside there for sure. My God.
That's the bottom.
My goodness.
Would that be ash?
Inside it with the grain structure, it almost looks like ash, but if he said it's soft, ash is not soft.
It's way too soft to be a piece of ash. I'm not sure what it is. A friend of mine passed away earlier this year, and his wife gave me boxes of wood, and this was just a piece that was in there. Like I said, I don't know what it is.
It's beautiful.
Yeah, it's pretty.
It is really pretty.
That is beautiful work.
Thank you.
Yep. Awesome.
That's
Patrick.
all I got.
What's your finish? What is the black on there? I'm sorry, I didn't hear you.
It's actually not black. It's chestnut spirit stain, and it's a lot darker than what I wanted. And I started with red, and then I put light blue over top of it, and it kept getting darker and darker. And then I put yellow over top of that, and it's just
stunning. It's
turned
stunning.
out a whole lot darker than I wanted it, but
no, it's beautiful.
Yes, it's all right. And then the finish is lacquer, spray lacquer.
I take position saying it's a secret formula, and I wouldn't go any further than that. You know.
Yeah.
Yeah, it looks great, Patrick. I'm glad you pulled that
Fantastic.
in. Thank you. That's all I got.
Really nice. Really nice.
All right, thank you, sir. All right, we're gonna spot over here to Kent Crowell. He's got a safety fire picture or something other he wants to show us here. All right, we got you now, Kent, but you're muted.
Unmute. Okay. All right, let's try this. I'm a little rusty. A friend of mine had a recent fire over here, and share content screen. Okay. And am I still with y'all?
Yep.
Yes, sir.
Okay. Let's see if I'll try this again. There it is. Okay. This do you see a burned up storage unit?
No.
Nope, we just see you.
You got to do your share screen. So you got to click share first.
Okay, let me go back. I'm a little rusty. And go to this Zoom thing here and shares content. Okay. Photos. Okay. Now back
and click on the window you want to share.
Okay.
He is on an iPad also, so
yeah, you may be seeing a whole bunch of stuff here. Let's see. Sorry about this. It was on there. Are you seeing a?
No.
Just see you
haven't.
still.
No, you haven't.
Just see you.
You have to hit share first.
Okay. Third time's charm. Let me go back. Go back to the deal. All right. Appreciate your patience. Let's see.
No worries.
Cancel that one. I got mute, stop video, share content, participants, and more.
Share content.
Share content. Okay. I'm going to try screen and see if I can find this picture again. I had it set up, but then it went away. So anyway, a friend of mine had really good guy, really skilled, highly skilled person, but he was running his saw stop and to the vacuum and real busy all the time. And the saw pinched the wood and it sent an ember into the dust collector, and he had an instant fire on his hands. And he was safe, but just empty that dust collector and get all that fuzz out of your shop from time to time, and have a fire extinguisher, and have your phone and have your emergency contacts up to date. I may email this picture to you, Dane, and you can jump in there at your convenience. Appreciate it.
Okay, that'll work, Ken. No worries.
I'm going to get off this here. I'm in my storage unit, and I'll mute and stop.
Okay, thank you, Kent. All right, Matt,
All
let's,
right.
who we got next? Daniel?
Dan said he had something to show.
I'm here. Hold on for a second. Something come up.
Come on, wake up, Dan.
Now, this is just a wing bow, and I've never turned one before. And I never watched a video on it, but I started turning it, and I just wanted to see how it would turn out. Well, it's reasonably decent. Across here, I've got a decent line, but it's not completely even all the way across. Okay. And what happened was I was doing a pole cut across instead of going in like that to get that thickness. And but it basically it's a 1/4 inch thick all the way around. There's the bottom foot, and it's quite nice. But the question I have is I want to put a lid on it. Do you think a curly maple or bird's eye maple? Because I'd like a light color.
Absolutely.
Bird's eye.
Yeah, that'll work just fine.
Bird's eye would be great.
Either one of those. But that looks vaguely familiar. I wonder why.
Maybe I seen somebody turned down here. I don't know.
That's beautiful.
Yeah, nice work, Dan.
Very nice.
Very nice. Did great work, Dan.
I do bird's eye. I do bird's eye maple.
Okay. I got some of that here.
And then
Some
put your
bird's
little
eye-
knob on
bird's eye
top
white.
out of the same as the bottom.
Yep.
What's that?
Put a knob on top, same color as the bottom or same wood as the bottom.
Yeah.
On top of the maple top.
Yep.
Something else.
Just
that
don't
would
get
good
carried
would
away
be,
like I did.
I don't
Bird's
know.
eye white cedar would work too.
I don't know what kind of wood this is. I bought it over at Woodcrafters, and it's supposed to be an exotic wood, so I don't even know where it come from or what it is.
Oh.
Huh.
Well, that's okay. I mean, it looks great, Dan.
It was just cut
This
off.
is really pretty.
All right. Well, that's
Very
all I've
nice.
got.
Very nice.
I'm not done finishing it yet. I've got 2 coats of tongue oil on it.
Okay.
One of my
Just don't get carried away and use too many species of wood on it like I did on this list.
Well, I'll try to get something close to matching this anyway.
But see, that's why I said that looks vaguely familiar.
Oh.
Minus the 5 types.
Yes, actually only 3, but no 4. But still, who's counting?
All right.
So
I think,
I don't have anybody else on my list, Dane, but I know Scott's back on, and I can talk a little bit about why I did my piece.
well, Doug Miller's got one.
Okay. What you got, Doug?
All right. JJ doing his box just reminded me that I did one last week that I'm was going to show you guys last week, but I wasn't able to come. I'm thinking this is a piece of cherry, but I really don't know. It's some it was a little bit punky, but it's got real good and solid as we got through it there. But maybe you can hear it.
Yep.
It's got a pretty nice little pop to it, but it's the same idea. The tenon that goes inside the base, it's got a bit of a crown to it, and the whole idea doing that, it should save you a lot of time getting that fit real nice and tight. Now, somebody else came on and said that most people don't like a snap fit other than Turner's. That's true, but a little hand sanding will take care of that. So I've got a piece of 320 here. I've been working on it a little bit, but another 10 or 15 minutes of just while I'm watching TV, just sitting here piddling with a piece of 320 on that tenon, and it'll be just a real nice fit. So anyway, that's how you can solve that when it's a little bit too tight to put out on the market.
Very, very nice, Doug. I'm one of those people who says that too. So it's very cool. All right, next up is John. What you got, John?
Hello. I don't know how to flip this camera. I got a couple mushrooms here.
Very nice. Beautiful.
Yeah, I'll bring this one up a little bit. Do a little pyro around it, made like a little door, a little kind of like
cute.
Little hobbit house.
Couple morel mushroom. Yeah.
I love those morels. Those are awesome.
Yep. And this one I hollowed from the bottom, and then I pierced it.
Oh my goodness.
Cool.
So, that's all I got.
Very nice.
And what you ought to do is make a whole bunch of them and then set out in the tree line and watch the city slickers come down and pick them and think they're real mushrooms.
There you go. You eat them, yeah. All right.
Hey, John, what's that bowl behind you?
Bowl on the table back there.
Yeah, the bowl.
This one?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah, this is a pearl. And there was a lot of it missing. And came out pretty good. Still working on it. I gotta sand it down again and put a little bit more, finish. And this was a large trough that I made. Kind of hard to see.
Wow. Beautiful.
That was a big chunk of wood. The lady wanted it. She wanted a trough, so
She's getting a trough.
I'll do another one.
All right, thank you, John.
Nice stuff, John.
Yeah, very cool. Next up is Joaquin. What you got?
You're muted.
What you got, Joaquin?
There you go.
Okay. Well, Sue was going to send us some gold leafing, and it wasn't what I expected. It's something different that I've never used before, and it doesn't peel off the sheet. You got to put it on there, and it pulls it off the sheet. And so what I was going to put it on, it wasn't going to work. So I had a Christmas tree laying around here. So I said, I'll try it on that. And so this is it. And I didn't use a fine enough brush. I've got some spots here it didn't adhere, but I used just an old acid brush to put my adhesive on instead of using a fine wire hair brush. But I was pleased with it. I think it's got a beautiful color.
Wow.
That's
It is. It's beautiful.
That's a very expensive little tree you got there.
And so anyway, it was fun doing, and I've got some other, it's just got to be put on flat stuff. And so I thought, well, because I was going to put it on a sea urchin, and that wasn't going to work. But I did have some gold leaf that I did do a sea urchin with. I don't know.
Oh, that's pretty.
Oh my.
Very pretty.
That's pretty.
Sparkly.
Yeah. Very pretty.
Yeah, it looks good. Joaquin.
Very nice. Very nice.
And so, well, thank you. And I got a silver one that I haven't made the finials for it yet. It's not showing it.
Nice. That's cool.
Nice.
Very nice.
So I did do some others. This is with orange oasis. I mean, that's not right. Orange. What am I trying to say?
Osage orange?
Osage orange is what this one's done with. And then this is a real dark mesquite.
Oh, nice.
That's not challenging enough. You need to do something more challenging. So I said, so I come up with this. It's a I captured that.
There you go.
That's beautiful.
Yeah, thank you. I think the ring might be a little too big. I think it should be a little bit smaller. But
That's cool.
yeah.
For the next one, Joaquin.
Yeah. And so yeah, I've got a gallery. They want my Christmas ornaments in there. So I've been busy with the sea urchins, and I got
made it a true you did a true captured ring and didn't break it and glue it.
Right. Yes. That is not
good.
broke, Dane.
Hey, if you don't like that, I'll take it. Gorgeous.
But I think it just needs, I've done one before, so I just think it needs to be just a little bit smaller in diameter. But it's okay.
That looks good.
Yeah. All right. That's what I got tonight.
What you can do is gold leaf the ring.
I was thinking about that, Dane. Yeah.
Yeah.
To make it stand out.
Right.
Good idea. Mm-hmm.
Very cool. Thanks, Joaquin.
Betcha.
All right. Well, Dane, I'm going to go back to you because that's all I've got on my list.
Don't you want to show your thing so Scott can see it?
Yeah, Scott. Let me put me back on, I guess. Sure. Hey, Scott. This one's for you. Because Scott's the guy who said, now you need to make a little gnome or something to go underneath the mushrooms. So there he is.
Oh.
So I don't know if he's there or not, but that's all I've got.
Yeah, he's there. He said cool.
Okay.
Well,
I didn't have anything to show tonight.
I've got a question.
Go ahead,
What's up, John?
Cade Bolger was talking 3 or 4 weeks ago about his thin bowls, and he was soaking them in a mixture of methyl hydrate and tung oil. And several people said, yeah, I've used that. How did you mix it? Because I tried 50% tung oil and methanol, and it just does not mix. It looks like water on oil.
I do not remember that conversation. I might have been in taking care of my cat.
I do, but I don't remember.
Yeah, I wouldn't. When I heard it, I thought that's odd because the thinner for tung oil is mineral spirits, not alcohol.
That's right.
Or tung oil for denatured alcohol works also.
Well, he was talking about using the methanol to take the water out of the piece and then the tung oil to soak back in. And I tried it, and it's you can't mix those two anyway. Not with any alcohol. I use methyl, ethyl, and isopropyl, and none of it works.
Denatured alcohol works because that's what I use for my finishing.
I think he said methanol hydrochloride.
Well, methyl hydrate in Canada is, yeah.
Yeah, because I wrote it down what he said on there, and it's linseed. Mix it with linseed oil.
No.
Yeah, that's what because I wrote it down, and or tung oil, and I can't remember a 50-50.
Was I got 50-50 methyl hydrate and tung oil.
What kind of tung oil are you using, John?
It's bottle I got at Woodcraft. I don't know.
Polymerized.
Is it polymerized tung oil?
Oh, it's regular. It's pure tung oil.
Pure tung oil and pure tung oil and methylated alcohol or mineral alcohol spirits won't mix. You have to use
Polymerizing.
tongue oil to make it work.
That's what the issue is.
So you have to use
Yes.
something like Minwax tongue oil. That's
Like
called
a-
tongue oil finish, and then
tongue oil
it'll mix with
finish.
the alcohol.
Well,
And I believe that's
I'm
what
gonna
Cade.
use something else.
I believe that's what Cade uses is mineral spirit Minwax tongue oil finish, which is polymerized tongue oil, and that's the only one that'll mix with denatured alcohol.
Right. Right.
Okay.
Yeah, if you're using pure,
Right
you're gonna
here.
have to go with mineral spirits.
Right here, John.
Okay.
So that and spirits, this and denatured alcohol will thin
Yep.
this,
Yeah,
this polymerizing oil.
But it won't thin 100% tongue oil, regular tongue oil. It won't do anything to it. It'll just float on each other.
Right.
He doesn't use pure tongue oil on his finishing either.
That's it for me.
So John,
Alrighty.
the only other
Thanks.
thing that'll thin your regular tongue oil, your 100% tongue oil, is citrus solvent. And it has to be pure citrus solvent. And there's only 1 or 2 companies that actually make a pure citrus solvent.
Well,
So
mineral spirits-
one of the things you can buy is you can buy a 50-50 pure tongue oil, pure citrus solvent mixture.
Correct.
And is it the Milk Paint Company that makes those?
That is correct, Matt.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah, I know I've got some of that downstairs in my finishing area. So,
Well, that's all I wanted to know. Thank you.
good question, John. We'll have to ask Cade the next time he shows up. What you working on, Joaquin? Got an open mic. We can hear snapping.
There to hang. Yeah.
Hey Joaquin, there was a question in the chat about where to buy the sea urchin bodies.
Oh man, they are hard to find right now. Usually I buy them from Cindy, but she's out of them. And I just searched on the internet till I found somebody that had anybody in stock, and I don't remember who it was. And they're getting pretty expensive.
What do you call pretty expensive?
About $30 for 10.
Yeah.
So you're buying them in blocks of 10. Are you buying them off of Etsy or?
Yeah, Etsy's a good place to buy them.
Etsy's where I got this last bunch.
Yeah.
But I don't know who it was on Etsy.
Yeah, that's where I got mine too. Is last time I got them was from off of Etsy. There's a lot of choices on Etsy if you do a search.
I seen some of them for $7 each though.
Wow.
Depends on the size and quality as how much they cost. So usually.
Yes, I agree.
Yeah, there's a box of 30 up here of small ones for not very much money. Set of 10 for $9.95. Box of 20. Oh, that's expensive. Okay, never mind that.
I'll show you some on Amazon. Has anybody ever tried those?
I just ordered a dozen.
From Amazon?
Yes. Right here.
Yeah, here's some 1.5 to 3 inch. So you get 8 of them for $20, but
Hey Matt, or no.
It varies from year to year as to
These are small ones.
how much availability there are.
what do you consider small?
2 inches.
No, I mean, how big around are they? You know.
These
Yeah,
are
2
1 inch, 7/8. Here.
Okay, so those are small. Yeah.
So
Anything less than an inch, inch and a half, are small.
I think she has these in stock, these little ones, you know. But and they're cute. But
The ones that I just put a link in, $24 for a dozen. They're 1 1/4 inches to 2 1/4 inches.
Oh yeah, those are small ones. Yeah.
Well, one and
And
a
they're
quarter is
20
a good size, though. That's
Two
a
and
good
a
one.
quarter's not bad.
and they're $23.99, and they're a whole bunch of different colors. So
Yeah, I think two and a quarter is good, and they look good on a tree. You can get them too big.
Yeah, you can get them way too big. Yeah, between 2 and 2.5 inches is what you should be shooting for.
But you can also go to these air plant people that have air plants, and they put them in the sea urchin, and they sell sea urchins to go with them.
Yes.
The sea urchin by itself, and a lot of people them putting these little air plants in them.
And like what Joaquin did, if you don't like the color, like sometimes you don't like the green or whatever, you can paint them.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You can get your airbrush out or spray paint them. You light coat of spray paint, or even use a brush on it. You can use, you can gold foil them or silver leaf them or whatever. So there's a lot of options.
yeah, this one is
So-
showing greens and whites and grays and purples and reds or pinkish.
You know what, the
Yeah.
ones that have little bumps, I guess, sticking out, almost like a cactus point
Right.
sticking out. What are those called,
Sputnik.
Sputniks? Is that what-
Yeah, they
All
got
right,
they got
folks,
different.
Real quick, just let me end the meeting here. So this is the end of the official meeting. Everyone that's still on here, thank you for showing up tonight. I hope you had a very enjoyable night. Now's the time if you want to duck out, you can do so. Otherwise, I'm going to keep the meeting open for a little while, do our little after hours where we get to know each other a little bit better than what we do in the normal forum. And so with that, the after hours starts now.